I'm just gonna press the button. So
Okay, cool.
the button has not been pressed. So
The button is pressed.
the button.
The chaos shall now presume.
Yes, we are now here. Welcome to after a good break. Welcome back to the Chillcast. Justin.
We were gonna have this a little bit ago, but stuff happened. But we finally got around to having it happen.
Yeah, funny enough, like literally all the stuff that happened was just 2 other tournaments. So
No, that
no,
that makes sense.
Yeah, no, we are, well, you are a Splatoon IPL producer, so I should say that as the first intro. So welcome, finally, an up-to-date Splatoon tourney producer. You did do Splatoon tourney before, like a long time ago for LUTI Tonight, like season 15?
Whatever the first, I don't remember which season it was specifically. It was the first time that LUTI Tonight was brought forth, because Falco had asked me in person at Riptide if I wanted to help out with it, and I said yeah, sure. And that was like
2022, 2023,
2023, because I think I was only like a couple months into having been streaming for IPL. So
that's crazy that actually Falco went up to you to say that. That is,
well, I mean, I knew Falco I knew Falco as like on the outside of like the friend circle that I was in, because I am like closer to Saf out of it. Like Saf is basically the person that I found in the Splatoon community when I came back to the game in like 2020, and then whenever she had like just started streaming, and then she started getting more involved in the community. She started doing competitive, and I was just basically just like in her community and other smaller streamers communities around, and was just along for the ride. So through that, she ended up doing Friday Night Frenzy with a team, and then I became aware of Falco through that, and then she started talking to Falco as like Riptide was becoming a thing. So I was just kind of like along for the ride for a lot of the stuff. So that's how I was like familiar with him. I had like had a couple conversations with him, I think, before he asked me to do it.
Wait, so you started in 2020? That's what you're saying? It was Splatoon.
No.
Splatoon. You started Splatoon in 2020.
I started Splatoon at the launch of Splatoon 2. I did not have a Wii U. I actually was a Splatoon hater when it first came out.
Wait, what? Okay, explain.
I just thought, well, the marketing didn't help, but you know, I just was not sold on and I was in high school, so I was definitely a lot more of opinionated, like jerky kind of kid back then. But I looked at this and like, this is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Oh my god, that makes sense.
So, and I had seen like other channels that I had followed at the time be like, hey, look at this new game, and I'm like, what do you mean Nintendo put out a shooter where you shoot the floor? What? What do you mean?
So wait, so that majority of the time, were you a COD player?
No, I wasn't really a shooter player. I had played COD before, but never. I like played the story modes because I never had like really an internet connection growing up.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So I played a couple of the story modes for some of them. It wasn't like my type of game though. I would say the Switch brought me back into like playing games, because like that was around whenever I wasn't really playing games that much anymore. Just because I kind of, I didn't really there wasn't really anything out that was interesting me, and I just kind of felt like I was moving past it. It was just kind of like, not really anything going on. But like, then Breath of the Wild trailer happened, and I'm like, oh, video games. Yeah, I like those.
Well, Breath of the Wild was one of the bigger trailers that came out because it came with the Switch as well, so it does make sense.
Yeah.
But then when you saw Splatoon again, what was your thought on there?
So it wasn't. So actually, by the time that the like test fires were happening and like the Switch was already being announced, at this point I was already kind of like, wait, I kind of am interested in this game. I want to think because of what had happened is whenever I started my freshman year of college, this was 2016 into like fall
Mm.
2016 into um winter
Sure.
spring
Yeah.
2017. So like right before the Switch came out.
Mm.
I found just randomly in my feed Skull Shirtical TCG like funny moments video of Splatoon hide and seek. There is
Oh.
no reason that I should have watched that video at all, or like even started watching that video, because again, I was still like, Splatoon is a stupid game. Why? To quote Donkey, Splatoon is a fucking stupid game.
Oh my god.
Because that's kind of like where my mind was at. But you know, I guess I was just in like the mindset of like, I'm gonna hate watch this video, and I watched that video. And then I watched another video, and then I watched several more videos, and then by the end of the week, I was fucking obsessed with this shit.
So you went down the rabbit hole. You went from hating to down the rabbit hole to liking it
Yeah.
because of Splatoon 1.
Yeah, so I was watching a lot of like Splatoon 1 videos from like all of like the OG like YouTubers from back then.
Mhm.
And so whenever the Splatoon, or whenever the Switch was announced, or whenever they like showed off the Switch at like the press conference and they showed off Splatoon 2, I was like, hell yeah! I don't know why. I was like all in. I'm just like, because it looked a lot cooler, because it had it was like a lot more polished, a lot more like in your face, like had the punk aspects to it, and I was like super into just the way the marketing was just so much better for it, and I was very into it. So my first time playing it was in the April test fire that they had, and that was the most fun that I've ever had playing a video game that was a shooter up until that point in time.
Oh.
So I was completely sold on the game at that point. So I basically started playing Splatoon at the beginning of Splatoon 2.
What would you main? That's a question.
Oh, well, I hadn't really figured it out for a while. I would say like, because I played Splatoon 2 for about a year before I kind of like put it down and never really touched it too much again. But at the time, I would say that my main was definitely like the Brella, because I thought the Brella was cool. And whenever they released, I actually unlocked the Brella from the story mode before they even put it in the game, because I thought that's how you were supposed to get the Brella. But they hadn't released it yet, so I actually unlocked that before they released it. So I never touched the vanilla Splat Brella. I only had the Hero Brella whenever it first came out. And
that's a flex. that's kind of a flex, honestly. That's kind of crazy.
It was. I unlocked all the hero weapons for Splatoon 2 because I just had no life, I guess, in college. But so I played a bit of Brella, because whenever that came out, people were like, I don't know what the fuck this is. This weapon is ass. But I played it, and it was the most fun that I ever had. And then it became OP like 3 months later, because it had like one patch update, and then it was like really strong. But that was just me playing like solo queue by myself, not really with too much else. Like, I didn't really have any friends that played it. It was just me. So it was just me getting angry at teammates in solo queue. And that's really all that was. So that's kind of why I stopped playing it, because I was like, oh, I don't have any friends that play this, and I'm just getting mad playing this game. So I just like slowly fell off of it.
Makes sense.
Around like 2018, 2019 or so, yeah.
What was your rank during that time too?
I think my highest was S+4.
Damn.
I think that was in no, it was S+2, and it was S+2 in zones. I got quad S+ at the time, and then they had announced and it was like, at this point I'm just like, oh, thank God, I finally am like quad S+, and they're just like, we are announcing X rank. I'm like, fuck you.
And that's when you quit. That was the time.
Well, you quit, it wasn't like one of the main reasons why I quit, but it was like, no. But eventually, well, I did come back to it because in 2020 I had started streaming because my friend had started streaming.
Oh.
Well, I started streaming as My original streams back then were just me on my shitty MacBook Pro. The only reason I started is because my best friend was like trying to start doing Twitch streaming,
Mhm.
and I was like there for him because it was 2020 and there was nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like a mod for him, and it was just like me, him, and maybe like one or two other people in chat, and we had a blast. And he did this like almost every single day, and I had like tested out streaming here and there, like playing like maybe like Tetris or something,
Mhm.
because I used to play Tetris a lot more back in the day. Don't ask me, I wasn't really that good. You ask any of my friends, they're like, "Oh my god, you were so good at Tetris," and then like they see how good you can actually be at Tetris, and I'm just like, "Yeah, no, you're bad." So, but then I was like, okay, because me and this friend had sort of played like the original Danganronpa game back in the day together,
Mhm.
or at least I like showed him some of like the highlights of it, and he really liked it.
Mhm.
And he always wanted to come back to Danganronpa 2, which I had, but I never played it, and we never really had time. Well, now we had time, so I'm like, well, what if I stream playing Danganronpa 2? So I did that, and I streamed all of Danganronpa 2 on my shitty MacBook Pro. Um, and that was like the start of it. And eventually I ended up getting a PC to be able to stream more. And I just kept
Mhm.
like pushing it and having more fun with it. And as you know, pandemic stuff started winding down,
Yeah.
I streamed a little bit less and less. But that was like the thing that kept me busy during the pandemic, was like finding ways to like improve streaming stuff, find little OBS tricks, like
Mhm.
buy some hardware to upgrade the stream, buy a new graphics card, buy like a higher end camera, all that sort of stuff. So I was like slowly building up the knowledge of being able to stream during this time.
Mhm.
And that was when I found SAF, because I'm gonna be honest, my one friend kind of pissed me off that night for a little,
Oh.
and so and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna look at see what's in the Splatoon category, and that is when I found Saf, who that night that I found her, it was the stream where she got affiliate. It was her first affiliate stream. She had like 90 followers, and she'd only been streaming for a week
Oh.
at
Wait.
that point.
Oh,
So
wait. A week?
yeah, she got affiliate in a week.
How the fuck? Okay, that's crazy. That's a random
Listen,
crazy fact.
Listen, man, I don't know how she did it, but she did. And like just her personality was just so electric, and from there I just kept coming back and just having a good time chilling. She would often do like private battles
Mhm.
with people in the stream, so that's how I sort of kind of got back into playing the game. And from there it just kind of, that's when I got back into Splatoon 2. So and then it's just, I've been kind of arguably with the game since then.
Yeah.
um
So you came back during with Sab during the Splatoon. This is it's all Splatoon 2, right?
this is, yeah, still Splatoon 2. Like the updates weren't really like, this is like past all the updates and
Mhm.
stuff, but I came back to like, K52
Mhm.
K-shot meta,
Mhm.
and I was like, I really like playing Splatlings.
So you had
So-
fun with the remix. So you had really fun with the remix, huh?
I played a lot of Remix. Yeah, Remix was super fun. And I did like a little bit of like tournaments here and there. Whenever, because like a couple people in her community like started like a small pickup for, because that's when she was doing Kensa Cup,
Mhm.
the Kensa Cups events, and for one of them, a couple friends said like, "Hey, do you want to join our team for this?" Because it was a pickup only event.
Mhm.
And so I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then our little group ended up kind of just sticking around together for a while and we played in like a couple low inks, a couple LSLs, a couple like the early days of From the Ink Up. I think I played
Mhm.
in like From the Ink Up 9. This was like before they even had like separate tiered like brackets.
Mhm.
They just had like the one bracket. And I think we got like third place in that in like the early days.
So that was your best tournament result back in the day? And
Best tournament result. My best tournament result was probably our team almost made beta bracket one low ink.
oh.
We actually tied perfectly with another team for the bottom spot of top 32 of whatever low ink that was. And it was like, not only did we have like the same, win-loss in, day one, like how the numbers worked out is like the
Opponent win
team.
percentage.
Yeah, that number was exactly the same for both of our teams. So Popgun came to us. It's just like, hey, we need you guys to have like one match on Mako zones right now.
wait a second. You were wait. I think that was the first. That was back in 2020 or 2019.
That was no, not 2020. That had to have been like 2022 or something like that.
I feel like I remember that story. That was you?
I don't think that I don't know if that had ever happened before where like two teams had the exact same like whatever numbers it was, and we had to have a tiebreaker single match on Mako Mart zones. And this wasn't on stream. It was like it was broadcast to the Discord server for anyone who wanted to watch, and we literally got 1 point memed. And it was very sad. We were that close to making it. So we were top seed of Gamma Bracket. We didn't win Gamma Bracket, but we were. That is probably the best result I've had in like an actual like established tournament. Which is not saying much. Obviously, I've never really considered myself like a good player or anything. But I did it for fun. So. And that's all I really cared about. But that was probably the best.
Best result they ever did was literally tying. That was okay. I can say for real, that was the first time that it actually ever happened. So you actually just like made a curse, like you made history that low ink. So yeah. Congrats.
I heard that and I was like, what? And it was just kind of like it all happened so fast because Popgun was telling us we had to either do it now or right before the start of day 2. And we were like, well, we'll just do it now. And it was such a close match and we almost got it, but I mean, it is what it is. So I had fun, and that's all that really. I had fun. That's all that really matters. I think some of my teammates were kind of a little bit salty about it, but I'm in it. I'm not in it for the ego of it all. I'm in it for the experience. So which is arguably why I never was that good at competitive. But
So basically, for your comp career, you basically started in like 2020 or 2021, and then ended in 2022, more or less.
I would. I think it like more wrapped up in 2020, either 22 or 23, because I think like the last thing that the team that I was on, the name of the team was Cosmic Court.
Okay.
And I mean, we're still all in the Discord together. We all still hang out. I'm a less active than everybody else in there because I'm just so busy with so much stuff. But like we still regularly played. But I think whatever LUTI season that was, we were Div 7 and we made it to playoffs, but we didn't make it far into playoffs. And I think everyone kind of a little
burned.
My issue with the team at the time was I feel like we all had different expectations and goals once we started taking competitive a little bit more seriously. So some people got a little bit more tilted with stuff, and which is fine. Like emotions happen and stuff. It is what it is. But it ended up kind of getting a little bit too personal in some specs. Nothing bad was ever said. Like no bad blood with anyone. We're all still friends. We still hang out. But I think just getting we all started maybe taking it a little bit too seriously, and I think silently we all just agreed we should probably stop doing this, or stop like doing competitive stuff together, because it's for the value of the friendship. It's like it's more just kind of like driving like all of our different expectations of what we want out of this is kind of driving a wedge in between that, and we don't want that to happen. So
it's the usual caveat of just people, like some of them are getting better and they think they could move on to a better team, while some people are getting held back. It's that kind of scenario.
I don't think I don't think anyone ever was like, I want to like be on a different team. I think we all really liked playing with each other. I just think like
Skill check.
we all had just different mindsets that just weren't aligning at the time.
Okay.
And we never really talked about it. And I kind of brought it up once and to our captain, and she was just like, yeah, yeah. And so
that's where it ended.
but I mean, unofficially, it was like a silent kind of hiatus sort of thing where we all just kind of like moved on from it and never really did too much else beyond that. But I still really liked doing competitive stuff, so I tried to find like little things here and there to do. I signed up to be a sub for a couple different like low-level tournaments here and there. I did the LAN at Magfest in 2023, where there was like, it was like sign up and you get put on teams. I didn't know anyone there. Well, I like knew of some of the people there, but like I didn't know anyone there. It was all just like sign up, we put you on a team. And it was supposed to be 8 teams, but it ended up being 9 teams because the sign up system kind of broke. So but I ended up, the team that I was on ended up getting 3rd place in that little LAN event, sort of that small little LAN event that happened that year at Magfest. And then they're like, let's do Magfest again next year. And then that was this past fest where things had issues and stuff. But
the Sonic incident.
Yeah, it was. I kind of felt bad because it was more like Magfest kind of dropped the ball, or like the people. It really was just like Magfest wanted us to do something, but they didn't give us the resources to do it.
Yeah.
So, and we just had a lot of technical issues, and it just kind of happened.
So, did you play in that though? That's the thing.
Yeah, I did. I did play in that. It's because of the fact that we were having trouble with the Switch docks, because I think we had like 2 setups, but they were just having issues with connecting and stuff. And Rose of Battle was just kind of like, if you can just find ways to play in some way, that just try to make something work. So we just pulled up like a side table from like somewhere else in like the hall. We had like 4 switches, like tabletop mode on one side, 4 switches, tabletop mode on the other side, and we played a best of 5 or best of 3. And my team lost, and I like went to find Rose so that I could like report the score. And I was just like, hey, our teams have finished. It's like, and then she's like, oh, you're the first team to report a score. And I'm just like,
god. Oh my god.
And like, we were supposed to have started an hour before then.
Oh yeah, no, that's really cooked. That definitely is Magfest. So like bothering the ball for sure. Like they really screwed up that one really badly.
Because it was also supposed to be streamed, and they had a setup for everything to be streamed, but then like they just didn't. I guess they like double booked something, and they had something else on like the stream setup, or they just didn't have it all set. It was a mess, and it's definitely not the TO's fault. It's definitely just like everything else. Just they like I guess Magfest just kind of, and no shade to Magfest. I don't want them to come after me and be like, but you know, it's like I feel like Splatoon as a game is a lot more complicated for running a tournament than, you know, any other fighting game that you guys are hosting in this thing, or like any other game that you're hosting, where it's usually just like 1 or 2 consoles, or like, because they have like a Just Dance tournament there too. They have a bunch of other like fun tournaments. But
wait, seriously,
like,
was that streamed or no? That's a question.
I never paid attention because I didn't care. But
makes sense.
But like they had a bunch of tournaments for a bunch of different things. But you know, for what you're asking for Splatoon, I mean, that's like the ever long issue with Splatoon is that you know, you need 8 Switch docks at a minimum to play. And that's a tough ask whenever the Switch docks are hard to come by a lot of the which they had a lot, but hooking them all up, making sure they all work, and then everybody's switches connects, and then then you have there was no audio. I don't think they had like Astro mixers or anything at Magfest, so it was just either you say nothing or you're just screaming over the loud hall of 5,000 other games happening in the same room, you know. So it takes a lot to be able to run a Splatoon LAN. I never have. I've thought about doing it, but you know, it takes a lot of effort to be able to do it, and I just don't think that they kind of were prepared for that.
It does seem like from the stories that from that Magfest, it does seem like that. But from what I heard was that Magfest is going to be trying to do better next year, so it might be better for the next Magfest.
I hope so. You know, I mean, I feel like we can only go up from here, you know.
Yeah.
And I think they definitely have seen how passionate, you know, the Splatoon community is about events and stuff, and I think they want to be able to take advantage of that. Like they're seeing, because there's I think there's like a decent amount of overlap of people that go to MomoCon that also go to Magfest. So they're seeing that and they're like, oh, we want to be able to host a lot of events like they do. And it's like, cool. The way of like saying that you want to do that is not making a Twitter post saying, hey, we want to run a Splatoon tournament. Any TOs, message us. And it's like, that's not how, that's a weird way of going about doing that.
But at the same time, it's basically like it's open-ended because they don't really have any connections yet to any of the Splatoon lands. So like, where is Magfest again? Where's
Basically in DC. So
okay, so going by that location, like you're in DC, right? Or nearby DC?
I'm near Pittsburgh. So like DC's not super far away from me, like a 4-hour drive.
Yeah, so in that kind of sensitive scenario, because this was recording on May 29, 2025, recently Anarchy Nova was revealed as a LAN. So in that kind of scenario, do you think like if they connected to like the Anarchy Nova LAN staff and you for production, do you think that would be like better, or do you think that would like help out with Magfest?
I mean, anything would help out Magfest at this point. Like I don't know. I didn't look too much into the Anarchy Nova stuff, but you know, if they said that they plan on doing more for it, I'll believe them for that, because you know, I just felt bad because I wanted to be able to help out with like some stuff if I could, but I also had other things that I had like scheduled that I wanted to do, because it is a con. Like I'm not going there just for Splatoon. It was just it's like how MomoCon has like all, and I didn't go to MomoCon, but I watched some of the clips and stuff from MomoCon. It's like they're going all in on these tournaments, and they have like, that's like a big thing that they're doing, and it just kind of felt like, oh, you can come to Magfest and go to all these events, and Splatoon's also there if you want to like check that out, I guess. You know, it's just kind of what it felt like. So maybe just it having a little bit more, you know. And again, first time that you're running it, I understand. Or, well, not the first, but like first time where it's being serious. Like it's being helped out by the
community.
Well, no, by Magfest, because I think the first one that I went to was completely like community driven. It was just like, hey, we want to host this thing, we'll run it, and it went fine. Like it was fine. It was small. Well, I mean, like partially, I think. No shade on the TOs, but I feel like, you know, having signups where you get 16 teams all, you know, randomly where everyone's like randomly assigned on teams. You have 16 teams and you want to do like 5 rounds of pools into a double elimination bracket on 2 setups.
Yeah,
is a bit ambitious.
Yeah, it's really ambitious. But I think if I remember correctly, that was like the sign up was only in person, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the Magfest. That was the Magfest decision.
Yeah, because you had to go up to like the tournament desk to like use their little like touchpad to like sign up for a tournament with your badge. So you had to like scan your badge and then say, I want to sign up for this tournament. So
so yeah, no, that definitely a Magfest decision. That is really ambitious with a 16 team. Yeah, no, and that would have been like 8 hours for a single day. Like holy,
they
no,
had
no,
they had 4 hours scheduled for the event.
Okay, and nope, that would have been like only an 18. That would have only be an 8-team tournament, or literally just a show match at that point.
I might be misremembering how many teams there were, but I feel like I was on team 14 or like some double-digit number team. So I was like, "Oh, you guys are gonna run like you guys are gonna run 16 teams with like from pools into double elimination on 2 setups in 3 hours."
Yeah, that's not.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, that is not possible. Like literally, it would have been just pools at that point, or literally just one double elimination packet. That would have been enough time on 2 setups.
I didn't stick around because I had other things I wanted to do, but I think they said that they were just gonna do single elim. I don't even know if they did pools because that's what it was the year before. It was just like single elim, and that worked. Like it was fine. Like everybody got to play a little bit, and you know there was a winner, and I think everybody got like the 3rd place, 2nd place, and 1st place teams all got like little goodie bags and like patches to like put on like a jacket or something, like a sewn patch kind of thing, like custom patch, which was cool. I didn't end up getting one because I forgot to message the person about it to be like, hey, we don't have yours, you need to like message one of us and we'll like mail it to you. And I was like, cool, I'll do that, and then I never did.
Do you think you can still get it now, or
I mean, there's no harm in asking, I guess.
It would be really funny if you can. Like that would be really funny. But
it's like 2 years later.
Yeah, but going back to like Magfest again, like you seeing from Blue Sky, because when you posted about it, did you get the drink with strings?
Did I get what?
Did you get the drink with strings? I think like you talked about like on like Blue Sky, like about getting like a drink or something at Magfest.
Getting a drink at Magfest? I mean, I drank at Magfest, but I don't know what specifically you're talking about.
Like I think like there was an interaction on Blue Sky that like you and Strings had, like, and then Strings said like, I'll buy you a drink at Magfest. Or was that Keon?
That might have been Keon, because I know Keon was there. I don't think I had an interaction with Strings. I know that Jub reached out to me because I guess someone, when I went to the club one night and I was wearing an LSL hat at the club, and I guess someone messaged Jub about it and was like, someone's wearing an LSL hat at the club at Magfest. and they reached out to me. It was like, was this you? And I'm like, yeah.
That's a more crazy story from Magfest. Oh my god. But damn it, did you get the drink from Keon then? Is that true or is this false?
I didn't get anything from Keon. I think I just said hi to him, and I feel like this was someone else because I didn't. Was this a thing? I don't remember this.
Well, it might be on Twitter, Blue Sky for history, but that's a really funny thing that I saw on Blue Sky that time ago. So yeah, no, I had the question about it if that actually happened, but more.
I mean, if Kyon, if you're listening to this and you owe me a drink, where is it at?
Or strings.
Strings. Does someone owe me a drink and I don't know about it?
I think someone does. But okay, are you going to go to Riptide this year? Are you going to go to Riptide this year? Yes or no?
Yeah, I'm going to Riptide. Me and some people already have an Airbnb picked out, so.
Nice. So that means you are gonna get the drink no matter what. Let's see what happens.
Oh, someone getting me a drink.
It's a call out. But yeah. So going back to like talk about Magfest, because going back to the postings, you did post about Danganronpa being your cosplay, if I remember correctly.
Not Danganronpa specifically. I work on a Danganronpa fan game, actually like the most popular Danganronpa fan game called Project Eden's Garden. I am the sound lead for that, so I'm in charge of all of the sound effects, the dialogue editing and implementation of all the audio into the game. I basically anything that's not making music. We have 2 composers who make music. I take care of like all of the audio assets, put them in the engine, mix everything, and just make sure everything sounds good. So one of the characters from our game I did a cosplay of, which was Mark Mayhem Bursky, because of the fact that my girlfriend had made it. My girlfriend crochets and knits and does like crafts and stuff. So for my birthday, she ended up making me a Mark Bursky hat. So it's like I think there's actually like one other one in existence that someone made that I'm aware of. So I was like, well, I have that hat, and his outfit is not that complicated, so I might as well dress up as a character from the game I'm working on. And I was like, this game has had like a decent amount of like it's decently popular, and I was like so curious if I like dressed up in this cosplay, if like a single person at Magfest would even recognize me. So and I told my one friend, I was just like, if I have one person walk up to me and say they know who I am, I'm gonna be happy, because that means that I worked on something that someone out there in the real world recognizes, and that's so weird to think about. And all day long I got nothing from nobody. Nothing from nobody until I went to a panel at 11 o'clock at night for like I guess they've done this before, where it's like they play Eurobeat songs, but like they put the lyrics on screen and we talk about how ridiculous the lyrics to Eurobeat is.
Yeah, that's a con moment. That's a con moment right there.
And I was like, that's fun, that's hilarious. And as we were walking out, someone walked up to me and was just like, hey, where did you get the Mark hat? And I was just like, oh, my girlfriend made this, and also I worked on the game. And she's like, that's crazy, dude. So I got one person that played the game that I worked on that came up to me at a con while I was cosplaying one of the characters.
Damn, that's a W for sure. That is definitely a W. But like, going to segue about the fan game. So how long have you been working on the game? For like ever since the start? Like, say about the story, about how it started.
I graduated from college in May of 2020. So I graduated into the pandemic with no job market in existence.
Yeah.
So it was about around 8 months later. This is after I had done all like some like hanging out with my friends and streaming and stuff. I saw and I had played Danganronpa 2 and V3 on my stream, and Ultra Despair Girls. Ultra Despair Girls. And I don't know how familiar you are with Danganronpa, but
sorta, but not like entirely deep into it.
You don't. Ultra Despair Girls is definitely not required, and definitely should.
It's Despair Girls and SFW. Basically, is it like 8?
It has its moments. It's not explicitly NSFW, but it definitely has its moments.
Is it?
Just to give you an idea, Matt Mercer is a voice actor who plays a main plays one of like the supporting characters of the game, who straight up says that he's into girls. Like, not even like as like a maybe we're talking about just like younger women. No, he says he likes them younger, as like young as possible. I feel so bad for Matt Mercer for having to voice that character.
Okay, that just sounds like it's something from like Court's Party Hysteric Birthday to you. That sounds like it's the exact same vibe. So I get it. I get it. I get what's first.
The rest of the series is, well, I can't say it's all passable. It has its moments, but but there was I saw the trailer for, like, it was an announcement trailer for Project Eden's Garden that was posted in January of 2021, and I think at the time the trailer had only been out for a month, and it had almost 1 million views. And so I saw that, and I was like, oh, this looks cool. And like, actually, it was like high production value, and the characters seem interesting. I wonder if they're looking for people. And I like look in the description, it's like, hey, we have hiring applications. And I'm like, they're not going to be looking for a sound designer, I swear. And then it's just like, join our Discord server. And so I joined the Discord server. I looked, and it's like, they're looking for SFX artists. I'm like, are you looking for a special effects artist or a sound effects artist? I'm just gonna fill this out anyway. And then like, a couple of days later, the director reaches out to me and it's just like, hey, I want to talk to you about this. And after talking for a bit, um, I was like, is this a volunteer project or is this like a paid project? He said it's a volunteer project.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay. And I think I did maybe like one test for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an interview with the two composers who were already on the project, and like I hit it off with the composers. Like those two guys are my best buds, Hayden and Ravi. Love those guys. And yeah, I got brought onto the team about like maybe like a month or two, within the month of that, and which was like we were not even into like the game was still in pre-production at that point. We didn't even really start production. So I kind of was like sitting around for a little bit trying to like figure out like what I was even doing on this project. So, and then, production happens and all that stuff. There's a lot. Project Eden's Garden is a long story. No one's here for that. Everyone's here for Splatoon, but
Well, this is the thing. This is the Chillcast, so this is for whatever the fuck it could be. So this is about this is the behind the scenes about you. So you can keep going on about Project Eden's Garden because honestly, I wanted to talk to you about that today.
Okay.
Honestly, because you are one of the people who does like SOS, who does production for Splatoon, but you have a second side to you, like some other producers, like CKK has like esports, was in esports school was in the esports cup president for their school. I do also as well on my side. Ali does does like stuff for like big brands on her side. Like everyone has a secret side, and your secret side you're in sound effects audio for one of the most popular fan games for Danganronpa. So yeah, no, keep that all going.
The most popular fan game for Danganronpa. Let me correct you on that. I don't think there is a single fan game of Danganronpa that is more popular than ours. I can say this. I think this is public information for the fact that so anyone who doesn't know that Project Eden's Garden is a Danganronpa fan game, and we're doing a chapter by chapter release. We put out the prologue in December of 2022, and we had over 100,000 downloads on that. And we put out chapter 1 back in December of last year, so December of 2024. And as of now, I think that we've hit over 350,000 downloads on that.
So when's chapter 2?
When is chapter 2? Fantastic question. That is not public information at this point. But because of the fact that sound is more of like a closer to the I don't want to say it's always like a end of the pipeline kind of thing for video games. It just ends up being that a lot of time because a lot of my work is dependent on others. It's dependent on the art team, on the like if you're doing animations and stuff, we do sound to the animations, so that the animations have to exist first for us to do sound for them. The story, obviously the writers have to come up with everything so that the artist can do it. Like so the sound ends up being a lot of times at the end of the pipeline. So like we're currently working on like getting stuff going for chapter 2, and so there's not really much I'm doing at the moment, so it's very chill for me. I could talk about this because this is entirely public knowledge that I'm working on mixing a musical right now for Project Eden's Garden.
Wait, no, that's
quote unquote musical. It's one song, and we talked. This is all because of Twitter.
Wait, no, continue. All because of Twitter. That's wild.
So Robbie, one of our composers, made a joke. He's a very prolific man, like working on so many other things. He's worked on another musical that he's like pushing out as like a big thing that might actually get like a production run, called Dystopia. Dis as in like Disney, Dystopia, which is entirely based around the idea of like what if Walt Disney's head got revived, quote unquote, if it actually ended up getting cryo-freezed, if his head got revived and he ended up building the Epcot that he wanted to build, and what that would like if people actually lived in that. So he's done musicals before. So going off, he just put out that musical, and like made a joke on Twitter, just like, what if I made a like musical for Project Eden's Garden? And people were like, bet. And he's like, make Project Eden's Garden trend on Twitter, like not just like on like your local, like your fan Twitters, like or whatnot, like make it trend on actual Twitter, and I will make it happen. Never thought it would be a thing. The thing that helped people out on this was the fact that Lady Gaga put out an album where I had one of the songs called "The Garden of Eden" on it. And because of people talking about that song, plus Project Eden's Garden got pushed out onto the main trending tab on Twitter one day.
It's crazy. That's a crazy lore drop right there. Holy.
So we have so Robbie wrote one song that's in the style of a musical, and it has almost all the voice actors in it singing. And it's like full orchestra, not like some of the orchestral instruments are like actually recorded, but like for them it's like full orchestra, rock guitars, drums, all this stuff. And we also had like a bunch of people in the community, like, you know, if they wanted to participate by doing ensemble parts. So there's like several ensemble like background parts with some of like YouTubers as well that like have played their game that are in part of our like little community and stuff.
Holy.
So I made like Robbie's like, yeah, Justin's working on this thing, and I think I responded to it saying, or he's like, it's like so big, it's got so much going on, and I'm just like, I think I just quote retweeted it saying 99 tracks.
Well, okay, what's the context of that? 99. Wait, 99 tracks for all the audio, like because in any like editing process, like there's like separate tracks for each audio source. So it is 99.
Each voice, each little thing. It's actually over 99 now because I've bussed some things together to make like separate tracks. But I have like over 100 mixer channels for this one project.
Holy! Like, is it complete or is it like?
Oh yeah, no, everything's recorded. I'm mixing it. I'm in the process of mixing it all together, which is a little bit of a challenge in of itself, which I've been like off and on it because it's kind of like slightly burning me out. But there's no deadline on this thing. It's just kind of when it gets done. But like that's the main thing I'm working on in this game right now is some random bullshit promotional thing because of Twitter.
No, honestly, do you know TADC by any chance?
I might be.
Digital Circus.
Yeah.
So like if you know about the music, like the music that the fan music that people did, like there is like a digital hallucinations like music video that was like a like fan created with like all the artists from that literally remade the video. I think that was like almost 100 as well. So like having that many people to like help you like with making something like that is wild to see. So like with that kind of musical as well, like that in a musical sense that you have to mix, that would be like a crazy thing to see, and like I think everyone will definitely enjoy it at the end, depending on like how the video looks like itself. But the audio, like if you put it out on like Spotify, YouTube Music, that might be having a lot of views.
It's funny that you mentioned the Amazing Digital Circus because we actually had Alex Rockren, voice of Kane, to voice in one of our promotional materials like a couple months back.
What the fuck?
Don't listen, I don't know how it happened. So in February we had like a popularity contest in the Discord server. That kind of got out of hand, but I'm not going to talk about that. What I will talk about is the fact that somehow someone got a hold of Alex Rockren because like our main villain of our game, people have said like has kind of like Kane energy in some extent, which was our thing came out first. I'm not saying like Kane stole our thing because I'm pretty sure Gooseworks has been working on the Amazing Digital Circus as a concept for a while now.
Oh yeah, it's as a comic, like I think back in like 2019 or something. So,
yeah. So, but like people have said like, oh, like Tozu is like has like Kane energy or Kane has Tozu energy, like it's like sort of similar thing. So whenever we were gonna put out a video that would be like announcing the winner of the popularity contest, it was a month long. It was like a bracket style, like March Madness style thing. We've done it before, and we were gonna have a video announcing like the winners and stuff like that. And I don't know how someone was able to get a hold of Alex to be able to actually not just like one voice line, like is like conversing back and forth with Tozu, who's played by Kevin on our team. A guy, Kevin, who has had no actual like voice acting experience before Project Eden's Garden, by the way, is like having a back and forth conversation about our characters and our game in like an 8-minute long video that we put out on the YouTube channel.
That honestly, like the funny thing is Alex Roshan, I think it's
Roshan. Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know. I never heard how his last name is pronounced. So.
Yeah, I forgot how to say it either, but he's from Toronto. So funny enough, like literally like when I look at the profile, like he's literally is from Canada. He's literally from Toronto, like, and literally like he does like a voice acting class too that I think is nearby where I am. So like holy fuck, wait a second. wait like he's from here. And so I think maybe it might be like a connection from that like VA like casting thing that he does that was a connection, because it might be one of his students.
So I mean, I never asked. Like it's one of those things where the amount of just things that we've accomplished on Project Eden's Garden, it just never stops surprising me at this point. Like I feel like it's like, oh, we got like Kane from the Amazing Digital Circus to be on our project. Oh, how the fuck did we get that to happen? All right, I guess that happened. We have like almost 400,000 downloads on our latest release. I can't fathom what the fuck that means.
Yeah, no, honestly, like you are part of a bigger circle than you think you are in the Danganronpa like project, in the Danganronpa series, I think right now. Saying it's crazy, like going from an outsider, because I think I saw some of my friends actually like stream the game before, like starting or like actually said something about it before. So like actually having one of the people that working on it on here is crazy to see. And coming from the Splatoon side too, that's even more crazy. So
I think Rocket, I think when Rocket found out,
Topic, maybe too.
Well, Rocket found out, and Rocket's been trying to get Topic to play Project Eden's Garden.
Wait, what?
That's what he told me, because Rocket found out just like I like mentioned it half-assed that I like work on the thing, and he's just like, wait, you work on that? And he's so Rocket's aware. Rocket's been like joking, making like references to it every once in a while whenever like we end up being in the same call or whatnot every once in a while, and then says like, I'm trying to get Topic to play it.
But did Rocket ever play it though? That's the thing.
Oh yeah, Rocket played it. Rocket loved it. Like, I think he said like, I think he did like the equivalent of like absolute cinema, like that meme.
Oh wow. Okay, then yeah, no, this is another shout out to Topic then that he needs to play. Honestly,
it's a call out post. Topic, you need to play Project Eden's Garden now.
Like honestly, at the same time too, Topic's going to Riptide. Remember that.
He's going.
He's
oh
going.
Man,
we can force him.
This man's gonna shit talk where I live in person.
We can force it. No, we can force it that he plays as well. Remember that.
Just force him to sit down in a room and make him play.
yeah. Just that could literally happen like on live. Like that could happen. That would be so cool. That would be so good to see like on one night to see that happen. But yeah, so. Going by the timeline as Project Eden going for chapter 1 and prologue was a year, do you think that's going to be happening this summer?
Actually,
it was 2 years. Wait, what?
It was 2 years because it was December 22 for the prologue and December 24 for chapter 1.
So going by that timeline, 2026 is going to be when chapter 2 releases.
I can't tell you that.
You can't tell me that. But going by the timeline.
Say anything about it, but what I will say, this is what I'll say. The prologue was us setting up a lot of the main mechanics and the basis for what the game is going to be. Chapter 1 was basically the final polishing process of adding a lot more to stuff, because like the prologue was just, okay, we're going to build the basic environments, we're going to get all of the sprites done, all of like the bass sound effects done, some of the bass tracks done, and then chapter 1 is we're going to expand on that with some more mini games, some more mechanics, clean up all of the issues that we have with the prologue in terms of like bugs and stuff and optimization. And so really, this is what I will say. post chapter 1, we don't need to rebuild everything from the ground up. We have a lot of the same systems in place. Like we have tools in place that we built in the prologue in chapter 1 that is just all we really have to do is kind of plug and play a lot of the new elements into what we're doing. Because I mean, it's just like maybe like a couple small things here and there might be new, but really like the bones are there. We just kind of have to put everything else on it for specifically what chapter 2 would be. Now, I mean, the reason why chapter 1 took so long, we really only wanted it to take like a year at max, but this is a volunteer project after all, like none of us are getting paid for this. So
Yeah.
our main lives take priority, and a lot like our director had like a serious medical emergency that got him out of it for like 5 months. A couple other members had like serious like life, like not like emergencies, but like serious life things happening. People were moving, people had like different jobs they were swapping back and forth between. And it's just it's like, yeah, if Project Eden's Garden was something where we were putting all of our time and effort into, yeah, we would get it done in like under a year. Like each chapter we would get it done. We'd probably get like a chapter done in like 3 months if we like put our noses down to the grindstone and actually like worked fucking 40 to 80 hours a week on it. Like that's like no problem. But like I have a full-time job that I'm doing to pay the bills. I've got Splatoon tournament stuff that I'm doing out of the passion for the game. I have a relationship with someone that that is taking very seriously, and I have family and friends that I want to like have time with, and I also want to try to take care of myself and my interests in all that time. I don't have time for a lot of this stuff, and that multiply that by the amount of people on the team. It takes time to make something when you're not when it's just for the passion of it. And so I can't tell you how. I mean, what I will tell you is that we have a timeline. We have a roadmap for how chapter 2 is going to go, which a lot of the issues that we had in production for chapter 1 were addressed in a meeting, and we have like a roadmap in plan for chapter 2, and we are working towards that. So that is all I will say in terms of how long chapter 2 is going to be. But I mean, for me, there's not really too much extra work I've got to do. Like, I don't think there's really that many extra sound effects that need to be made. I don't think we're going to be adding too many extra music tracks. The only thing is like we gotta have our 17 voice actors record a whole nother trial, but like I have somebody else helping me out editing voice lines now, which I brought in Rowan on chapter 1 to help out with sound effects and dialogue editing. Rowan, if you're listening to this, you are a blessing to this world. Thank you for existing. So like really it's just like anything that's new we need to work on. Anything that's old we don't need to build again. So
Wow, that is really an interesting information about Project Eden Garden. 100%. Like, it's really good to get like an in-depth from one of the people who's like working internally about it. So yeah, but if you can't say anything about like when it's going to come out, like, do you know like the latest update? You can't say anything about that. Like, if there was the latest update about Project Eden Garden that got revealed, or no?
Update. I don't think we mentioned anything. I've been kind of like really out. I've been kind of I've like, because of the fact that there's not really too much that I have working on other than like the musical that I'm working on right now. I don't think there's really anything that I mean, something there's not specific to the game like update wise, but we've been doing a bunch of stuff for social media. Like one of our voice actors, the voice actress of Cassidy Amber, Sabrina Twyla, she's so sweet. I got to meet her in real life at San Japan in San Antonio a couple years ago. She's been like kind of like taking up the role of Cassidy and doing like gaming live streams in character with some other the voice actors and like some fellow YouTubers have joined in on it. So I've helped out like a little bit with that because they needed some assets for like some sound assets for that. In terms of like updates and stuff, like I don't think we've mentioned anything major. It's just all kind of like events or promotional stuff that we're doing to just keep the community just fed while we're working on chapter 2.
Yeah, makes sense. So that means whoever, like, if somehow a fan of Project Eden Garden stumbles upon this is the most recent update that anyone got ever since back then. That's I mean,
I don't know how much they're gonna get from this. I mean, maybe it's enough for them to feed, but
but no, that would be really funny if some, like,
I feel bad for anyone who clicked on this waiting for Splatoon content, because we're we could circle back around to split some more Splatoon stuff later, but
no, I actually, like, once the conversation was over, once we stopped talking about Project Eden Garden, I was going to go into Splatoon again, but yeah. Yeah, so that means
just skip ahead like 20 minutes if you want Splatoon stuff. We'll be there in a minute.
It has not been 20 minutes. It has been actually like 30 minutes.
I'd like and I'm telling them, skip ahead 20 more minutes ahead of where we are now, and we'll probably be talking about Splatoon. If not, I'm sorry.
No, honestly, like, this is like the pod side, so technically, this still counts.
It's production talk, I mean, and it is production, so in a way. So.
So. Did you actually, if you want to go that deep, like, because you stream for IPL for SOS, then because you do like audio mixing for Project Eden Garden, you have the music, right?
For Project Eden's Garden, yes.
Like, it's locally on your computer, right? Or is it like on Spotify or anything?
It's also on Spotify. It's also on my computer.
So, did you ever think about playing any of those tracks for SOS?
I have never thought about it. I mean, honestly, I never really think too much about what songs I'm playing for SOS. I just, like, last year, and I've made a change because of the fact that Harris Heller Stream Beats was my #1 artist last year, and I hate that because that makes no fucking sense because I just used it for SOS. And like that's saying something because of the fact that, like, I listened to like 60,000 minutes of Spotify last year. How the fuck was Harris Heller #1?
Because technically you stream SOS every week when it exists on Wednesdays. So that's
almost
mostly
every week, yeah.
So basically that's 4 hours every single time for Harris Heller. So multiply that. Like, that might be why you're #1.
I mean, I listen to a lot of Spotify. Like, I one of my main job involves driving. So I listen to podcasts. I listen to music all the time. I'm using Spotify constantly, all the time. So I'm just like, how the
like is it the same artist though? That's the thing.
Because that's the thing. It is the same artist for like 4 hours straight. So what I have done is I found like another I found Argo Fox, which is another like royalty free thing. I don't think too much about like what music I'm playing because I honestly, when I'm doing streaming for Splatoon, the last thing I want to be doing is like, is this tasteful music that I'm playing right now? Because I've got 5,000 other things I'm trying to worry about all at once.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So I've legitimately thought about, curating my own custom playlist of like songs that are not just like, your standard like royalty free. I mean, like, and I'm not saying like Argo Fox or Harris Heller makes music that's just like generic royalty free music. I mean, some of it's not like that special, but like I think for the most part, like, it's entertaining enough for the stream. Like, it's something in the background and whatnot. I mean, it definitely is entertaining whenever you and Topic were in a call together and you're like, I need you to play this one song from Persona 3 whenever we come in.
Yeah, and that was during the same time that you played on loop for the whole set. For that whole set.
You never asked for me to play. You wanted me to play that song, so I played that song. You didn't say I had to play anything else.
Yeah, but technically you could go into the Persona mix as well at that point and just play any other Persona 3 art on. But the song in the piece was basically the bit that topic had, so that's
Mhm,
why
mhm.
that's why you had to keep it running, because that was during the time that Prison Break as well. So
Yeah, yeah,
we had to keep that bit up for topic, and unfortunately Walken wasn't
yeah.
there. So like literally anytime that topic was in for a com set, it would be the best thing to have that song play. Because
Mhm,
because that's basically their theme song, theme song, because they go by any all. So yeah, that's their theme song. It's literally the
mhm.
song in the piece, and it has been. But I think it's now dead because technically topic has never been. The topic has been on SOS like a lot, but the bit never really happened in a while. So it technically is dead, but it's not really dead. It's on your call though to bring it back when topic's on.
Ooh, that's fair. Topic has been like a regular for the past couple of months. I mean, it's not. There was a time where it was like every single week he got put on, but he's a little bit more interspersed now. But he still is like a regular of SOS, like every once in a while. I mean, for the fact that it's like almost every single week I see him on the comms list, and I'm like, oh my god, this motherfucker is gonna shit talk me because I'm from Pittsburgh again, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's like at least he doesn't do this anymore, but at least like the second he'd join the call, he'd be like, "Fuck you, Justin." I'm just like, all right, here we go.
No, honestly, no, honestly, that's their thing. So that's the more funny thing.
I know. I play it up because I understand that that's the bit and stuff, and it's funny.
Yeah,
Um,
so a lot of
like
people
a,
don't get it though. So
no,
that's the
no, there's
funny.
no ill will. I definitely play into it with him as well and shit talk New Jersey, as I should. Um,
So yeah, this is a confirmation for all the TOs or any commentators that get confused when they join a call with topic. The bit is all for funny. Don't take it seriously. It's all for funny.
mhm,
But yeah,
mhm.
because I think for sure, like when me Rocket me and Rocket or you join the BTP topic, like when that happened, no, some people don't get it. So it's a good thing.
I mean, listen, for anyone who doesn't know, it's just utter chaos, and you're just like, well, if you're not in the know, you're not in the know.
Basically, yeah. So yeah, so that's in the music sense. But yeah, going
Mhm.
back to the commentators, because you're saying the topics are regular, like you only do SOS. Other than other events like the SG Major that's coming up like tomorrow, well in 30 minutes it will be tomorrow, and you have like Pat's you have a Magic coming out of nowhere with Siren as well. So like,
Mhm.
and I think if I remember, you were in a VC like setting it up with like Inky as well, and Boing as
Yes.
well. Like,
I don't think Boing was there. I think it was mainly just Inky. It was just I already had the. I've done Sendo Q finals twice before, so I think it was just getting a couple of the updates to the overlays from whenever Inky last ran it, because there was Inky had like the caster views with like the cameras, and that was something that they set up all together on. They like hodgepodge that together and Node CG on their end on their own branch. So I didn't have that, and I was like, because I like reviewed the previous like Sendo Q and just like, oh look, that's a thing, but like I don't have that on like the IPL dashboard. And I was like asking about it. I'm just like, hey, I don't have the camera views. I can't really do this. I don't even have brackets. So I think Boing set me up with the brackets, but I didn't have the caster cams for the last Sendoki photo. So we just ended up using the caster cam view for SOS because it has no branding on it. So it worked. It was fine. No one noticed, but Inky was setting up they were setting me up with the new like thing so that it worked with the overlay. So I'm fully set up with everything now for Sendo Q for what Inky was running whenever they were running it.
So like going from that sense as well, like comparing NoSTG to Splatoon 20, how we use C.io, which one do you think do you like more to use?
I would note CG 100%.
Oh.
And that's no shame to Sheets.io, because I understand it, I get it, and it's useful and it's easy to use. However, it's not as fast as Node CG is, for one. Two, it's a lot more busy for me, like visually. Like I feel like I have to jump around a lot more for it to be able to work. And I'm kind of just biased that in the back of my head it's just not as pretty. And like that's like again that's not that's why I'm like pushing it to the end, because I don't want to say that as like a major thing of like why I don't, and I'm not saying I don't like Sheets.io.
Hmm.
It's great. I think it's very it surprises me what you're able to do with Sheets.io, and I think it's a great tool for anyone who knows how to use it,
Hmm.
and use it well. I think Falco has been able to use it well for Splatoon Tourney, and CCA has also been using it, and I think they're using it in a very interesting way as well. I mean, I think they're basically using I don't know if they're using exactly what Falco was doing, but it kind of
Well,
seems like it was whenever I was doing it. When I did
well,
CCA like for 2 streams like 2 months
yeah.
ago.
Well, I could say basically the way that CCA got into get with Chisayo was because of me, and I got it from Falco. But the thing is with the thing is with the sheet design, like why it's not pretty, it's because of the sheet design itself. Like many people has different sheet designs. Like Nate has a different sheet design with macros. There was another sheet design for level up. From the show that had a different sheet design. And then there was Hammy as well, who had a sheet design for a separate part cooperative. But the main thing right now, like for what people use, is either going to be Ellie's one from Under Pressure, or going to be Falco's one, which is from Splatoon Tourney, or not even from Splatoon Tourney, it's from Friday Night Frenzy. It's that old. So yeah, that's why it looks not that good. It's because the design is still like old fashioned, and all the sheet boxes, like the sheet itself, I can say the cells is 1,000, but it's like 1,000 to the bottom, and it goes to like XZ on the right side before I asked Falco to like fix it for the main sheet, and like too small in the size to make it like fit all into like one actual dashboard to be like compact, because everything was like super ugly by being like spaced out, and it just doesn't like fit on one monitor. And because it doesn't fit like one monitor, you need to like scroll to the right or left to change it. Like it really was an inconvenience. So once that change did happen, like it looks way more better now, because it just, you can size it to your own liking. And
Yeah, and
yeah,
I feel like I'm definitely not the kind of person to. I've never said that I care about how something visually looks. Whenever I'm using it, like I use like my main DAW is Reaper. Reaper is like one of the ugliest DAWs, like digital audio workstation, like music softwares that you will ever see. But that is because it's using like a lot of the stock assets from, depending on what machine you're using, Windows or Mac, because of the fact that it is so light. It doesn't have like any fancy graphics that you need to process on your computer or whatnot. It just uses a lot of the default stuff to make it so that it runs fast. So I could boot up Reaper with a full project in like 10 seconds that it would take me like 3 minutes to open on Pro Tools or something. So, but the point that I'm getting at is I don't really care about how something visually looks as long as it's functional. And Sheets.io is functional, and I do enjoy it. I do like using it for that. There's just something about I don't want to say the professionalism of how the IPL dashboard is set up with Node CG, because I'm just able to like click, like everything's organized in a way that it's visually makes sense to me. I can move stuff around however I want it to be able to look, and I just like I click a button and it instantly changes in the scene. Like because with Sheets.io there's like a slight delay before it changes. But I mean, like, give or take, I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna say like, oh, I hate one thing over the other. I've used both, and both are I can use, you know. It's just I do like I've legitimately thought if I've ever doing something like this for like because I've thought about starting like a Splatoon LAN in Pittsburgh. If I wanted to create like a dashboard for stream overlays, would I want to do something in Node CG or Sheets.io? And like I'm debating in my head, Sheets.io would be easier to set up, but I would probably like I know some JavaScript and like very basic coding stuff, so if I could like figure out the framework of Node CG, I would like to be able to use that, because it's just. And to be fair, it is what I started with SOS, you know. So there's like the bias of I used that for like several months before I used Sheets.io, so I was just very ingrained into that environment, you know. I want to make sure that I'm not shit talking Sheets.io. I think it's fine. You just asked me which I prefer, and I answered your.
No, that's the main thing. Like, which one do you prefer, Chisayo and no CG? And like going for the no CG side, like there is people that you can talk to like literally help you out with the principal lang and set up like no CG, because funny enough, on the east side of the land map, like for United States, on the east side, we use anything that's programmed. So for Metro Inc., they use like a no CG themselves for Metro Inc. streams. CKK use no CG for the Gatorland streams, and also for Chai Shoals, they use no CG from Epic Yoshi Maker, who made the overlays basically for Chai Shoals. But in the West, for Sea Battle, Sunset Surge, and and Booyah Bay, we use CCIO in the West. So that's the difference. And also, like in the Metagrounds, it's Texas, and they use, I think, no CG as well, but that's Texas. So
Right.
they're an outlier because they're like in the middle of everything. But so basically you'll be following the map if you do with no CG, if you do that.
Got that East Coast West Coast rep, that rivalry going.
Basically, yes, in the LAN championships and in the production behind the scenes. Yes, as well. If you look at LCS, like JPEG use Node as well for like setting up for the LCS, and I don't know where JPEG is again, but I feel like JPEG's in the east because if it's no CG, so.
I thought JPEG was in like the Pacific Northwest, but I could be entirely wrong on that.
Well, then that means there.
I do not know. I just assumed based on context of things that I've heard.
Well, in that sense, if JPEG is in the West, we have a spy. We have a snitch.
It's an imposter among us.
There was an imposter among us for sure. But going into like competitors as well, like because again, like you see topic like almost every single week. There's Fostics just every single week. Like there's like
Fostics is very regular. Yeah.
Like there's regulars like that comes to like every like stream basically, and then you get to work for the professionals as well, or the like bigger names. Like after seeing so much, like what do you think a commentator should be in the Splatoon scene to like actually like be able to commentate as a duo?
I think a commentator duo should be. Oh, this is gonna get into that one. This might partially get into that one Blue Sky post that I made last week, where I was like, if I could say all of the things with production Splatoon that I've been like keeping in the back of my mind for so long.
Well, that's the place.
This is the place. I understand. So, like, part of why I said in that post, I haven't said anything about it. I've like had a lot of these thoughts in the back of my head that I haven't said for a while, and I feel like the reason that I haven't said anything for a while is because I feel like it's going to be hypocritical coming from me as a person that has the full ability to be able to help execute any of this, and I'm complaining about, you know, what I feel like production is doing wrong. And it's just like, I am production. I'm pointing the finger at myself. But whenever you first asked me about this, I was like, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about, because I don't really feel like, me personally, I've done really anything to help forward Splatoon production that much for broadcasting, because like I'm just like, everyone else has set up all these tools and has created all these overlays and just like has set up the framework for everything to be run. I'm just the monkey that shows up, that pushes the buttons and makes everything work. You know, I don't feel like I've done, you know, that much to, you know, push things forward whenever, you know, I definitely could. I just, you know, I have 5,000 other things going on in my life. I can't, it's like the same thing I said about Project Eden's Garden is like, I can only put so much of my time into this. So I can't, you know, push. I would love to do more. I'm currently working on, you know, doing some sound design for some of the stinger transitions for IPL, just that for fun. Like, I don't know, I'm not like pushing for these, like, we're going to be using audio in our stinger transitions now. But I'm just like, I don't know, maybe I do sound design, so maybe I could help out with that, because like stinger transitions without sound is kind of lame. I'm getting away from your question, but for commentators,
it's fine. You can keep going with it because that's still part of it. That's still part of it, if you think
I
about
wanted
it.
to set up. I wanted to set that as a groundwork to answer the question of like, what do I think about commentators? So I personally do not watch a lot of tournaments that I'm not streaming.
Mhm.
Not for any reason of like, oh, I'm busy or anything. A lot of times when I do watch them, I just get really bored very fast.
Mhm.
Not necessarily because of the commentators or anything, because like obviously they're trying to keep things interesting and talking, but like I watch the main sport that like I watch is like American football,
Yeah.
like NFL stuff. Like I'm not like a big fan of that kind of stuff. I just live in Pittsburgh, and if you aren't a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you're roasted at the coals. So even like, so I got into football whenever I was younger, not because I like for any reason other than like I was just surrounded by people that loved football.
Mhm.
And I love watching it because there's so much like in between like individual plays, like you have the commentators bringing up stats of like so much different things. And I'm not saying I'm a stats person, but like
Mhm.
being able to visually see like in the third quarter which team has more rushing yards is just kind of like, oh, that's neat. Or like, hey, this player just made a crazy play. Let's, do an instant replay and maybe talk about some of his stats for the season or like his history. Like he got traded during the draft, or he was like a third round pick and the Steelers grabbed him in the draft 3 years ago. He played for this like thing. It's like, oh, okay, so I know who this player is. I get to learn about these players. I get to
Mhm.
learn about the story of the teams.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's what commentators in professional sports do, is like anybody can just look at two teams playing football and it's just like, okay, this team, like I don't know anything about these two teams. I just see people playing football.
Mhm.
It's the production and the commentators that are like, all right, these are who these teams are. Here's the individual players. Here's like what's at stake. Here's the story of this particular match that we're going to make this interesting for you.
Mhm.
I tune into a Splatoon stream and I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you people are that are playing, and I don't know what are the stakes of this current match, and like I don't know what you guys play, like what weapons you play, what your history is. I'm like on the outskirts of like the Splatoon community, right? Like, in terms of like knowing people. Like I know people now because I've done production and stuff, but whenever I tune into a stream and to be fair, like, low level tournaments, you have a bunch of teams that people aren't going to know, but like say for SAC or something like that, and I'm not calling out SAC or anything, I'm just using SAC as an example because it has like teams that are in somewhat established because they are mid-level.
Yeah, they have some stats as well too.
Yeah, it's like I tune into SAC or something and I'm like, okay, there's these two teams, I don't know who they are, I don't know what they play, I don't know what their style is. Are they better on one mode or another? Like, I don't know. And the commentators are just like, oh yeah, I've heard of this person. Like this person, yeah. It's like, I think this person plays Brush. I think that's going to be interesting to watch. And we're going to go onto these modes and stuff. And it's just like, okay, cool. And at that point, it's just like, oh, I'm just watching people play Splatoon. It's like, I want to know and not every match needs to be like, grand finals, but like, I want to know what's at stake here. What are these teams? Like, what is their history? And like, obviously you can't get all of that into like, because like we're volunteer, right? We can't go through and do like last season of like NFL, I watched and they had like in between plays, they cut to like just this one full on like 3D motion graphic of like complex shit of like high model 3D like assets and like the player there and like stats all over the place, and that was on screen for 5 seconds. I'm like, that had to take people like 3 hours to make, and it's like on screen for 5 seconds, and it might not have ever been shown on screen at all. Like they just cut to that. Like we don't have that level of time in production here. We're just like, if we have cams for commentators and like the a roster and maps to show, that's like the high end Splatoon tournament, kind of thing. Like, so that's been like my main thing that I feel like production and commentators need to, at least, and it's hard because again, everyone here is volunteer. We don't have time for this shit, but it's like, I want to know who the fuck are you, and what is the story here? What is at stake? Because if it's just, oh, these are two random teams, we're in pools. Like, yeah, sure, yeah, I get it. Like, it's like there's not really that much at stake. It's pools, but if like I know that like, hey, this team usually runs like a double backline comp, and we're going up against a team that runs like, odd weapon choices. They like off meta choices. It's just like we have that information to some extent because the players have like what they play on Sendao,
yeah.
and like that information could basically be pulled for visuals on the overlays if possible, because we have like some of the API stuff. I know it's not fully fleshed out, but it's like, or maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not fully into the coding of the Sendao API, but if like we can pull the rosters, like can we pull, what are like the three main weapons that they have in their pool that they typically pull from, like maybe if like it's possible to like pull up a clip from a different tournament where they got like a triple kill or something, that would be cool as like a visual thing to show as like what are these teams capable of that we're about to see. And like I know that's going to be like hard to organize, but like if teams have like, if like the teams on Sendao can have like a section with like, oh, here's some cool clips from like tournaments that we've done, and like that can be pulled from and I don't know how that would work with like from different organizations like streaming each other's clips and whatnot. Like obviously it's when we're not all centralized under one thing, I'm not saying we should be, but it's like it's hard to like say like, oh, let's go grab some like clips from LSL and from Dapple. Like that's gonna be weird because we're stealing clips and like content from other people, and it's so, but like whenever we're just sitting on a map list and like waiting for the teams to pick weapons and like get in the lobby and all that stuff, and the commentators are kind of just like talking about the maps, it's like, I get it, yeah, all right. I'm just gonna put this on in the background because like this is not interesting enough for me to watch, And I feel like that is what a lot of people do for Splatoon streams. It's because like the chat's not super active in a lot of Splatoon streams. Like I feel like people just kind of put this on in a tab and like maybe listen to it, and it's like, oh wait, there's a game happening, tab back over. So
like I can say like there, like in the Splatoon streams, like people usually just like they don't really look at the map screen, they just go into the games like when they watch the VODs, just so they can do a review. And also at the same time, like for like weeklies, like people just happen on the sidelines. Like there has been like a downpour of viewership for weeklies, just because it's a weekly, like it comes every single week, so like you won't really miss everything because it's just the same team coming in. But when there's events, that's when like the numbers pour in and they put it up. But at the same time too, like if you like look at watch parties, people don't really say anything about the commentators as much. They don't really say about anything else other than like teams or the games. So really like what you want, and like going from a post from Zai, who is the IPL project lead, like a new one, you want stats from like you, and this is from Blue Zai post from Zai. They said that Sofa King, who was a new commentator like for like a year now, they from LUTI Tonight, they put out stats and they said stats like about the teams. That's what you want from commentators, basically, to just say more stats about the teams, about the actual like players, instead of just having like stale air or just like random talking. But in a weekly sense, or like in like every tournament, or like in majors, like would be more important, right?
A weekly, I don't feel like needs to have that. It's a weekly. If we're putting all of our effort into a weekly, we're gonna burn out so fast. And it's like, weeklies exist for a reason, and I don't think anyone really puts a lot of weight on weeklies. And I'm not saying that like we shouldn't try with weeklies, but I feel like if we're going to doll anything up, we should doll up the majors, we should doll up the big events, that
Mhm.
the ones that are going to make people watch. I'm just like mentioning in general that, like, you know other than LCS, which had a bit more like graphically going on to like
Mhm.
visually make it interesting, a lot of, even like Riptide and stuff is just like, we're just gonna cut to like a camera shot of the players on stage, or cut to the commentators and stuff, and it's just
Mhm.
like, I get that that's what we have, and we don't really have like too much else to go off of. Like, I think there was one Riptide where they actually did have some stats to be able to show on the screen. They weren't like
Yeah.
in-depth stats or anything. I'm also curious how they got those stats, because there was someone that had like 60 booyahs in the whole match, compared to like they had a stats of how many times people booyah'd in the match, and it was like
Mhm.
one player who was obviously like who played booyah bomb and stuff, so they had to like spam booyah. But it's just like, how did the hell did they get that information? Or is that like that was just kind of like interesting to me.
Mhm.
But like that made it interesting to me, just like, oh, that's like an interesting, and it doesn't necessarily have to be stats. Like, I feel like it is the commentator's job to take all of the information in, digest it, and turn it into a story for the viewers,
Mhm.
because like that's what it needs to be. And I think maybe partially what the issue can be is that the Splatoon community exists of itself and not really much else.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is that, commentators will talk about the game and talk about the tournament as if they're talking to Splatoon players.
Mhm.
So, whenever you watch, any sporting event, like, the commentators are going to not they're not going to talk to you like you're a baby that doesn't know what you're talking about, but they're going to talk about interesting like things, like, like if we're talking about American football, we're going to talk about blitzes, we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about rushing yards. We're going to talk about like different type of coordinated defenses and stuff. But like,
Mhm.
we're also going to talk about like very basic level of information to kind of get the people that aren't super familiar with the game up to speed about like what exactly is going on here.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying like you have to like do like, I think like whenever Nintendo was running like big events and stuff and had commentators, they did a good job of being able to kind of like, hey, we're going to talk about these teams and who they are, but like also let's make sure that you're up to speed about, like, I'm not saying like we need to tell you how tower control works,
Mhm.
but like maybe if like, hey, the next match is going to be Humpback Rainmaker, maybe have like a short little video thing of like a smash cut of like clips of people playing, like cool, like, different angles of people playing on that map, and show that like, hey, these are where the Rainmaker pedestals are, here's the different routes that you could take. Like,
Mhm.
not that everyone who plays Splatoon doesn't already know that, but like, what if people who are like new to the game that don't know that kind of stuff, or like people who are on the outside are like, what is this? And they look and just like, oh, okay, so like they have to take this big fish thing and go either that way or that way to the big things, and it's like they
Mhm.
understand that by that kind of thing. So like there's a fine, there's like it's a very blurry line of like how you go about doing that, but
Mhm.
I feel like commentators a lot of times, commentate to players of the competitive scene,
Mhm.
and that, like, yeah, sure, that works. But if we're wanting, and I don't know what the Splatoon competitive broadcast whatnot's goal is. Like, are we wanting to just entertain our community? Are we wanting to try to make this something bigger?
Mhm.
Obviously, it's not going to become like the biggest esport in the world,
Mhm.
but it's big in Japan, so like, you're gonna get people, like, there's people that are might come in and like want to watch it, and if
Mhm.
they're just talking about, if people say pencil and people say, like all these like nicknames for different weapons, it's just like a newer player is like, what's pencil?
Mhm.
And I'm not saying we have to baby everybody by saying like the full names of weapons, saying splat instead of pick or kill or whatnot.
Mhm.
We're our own community, we can run the way we want, but you know somebody on the outside is going to look in on this and be like, I just like, it's a very fast-paced game.
Mhm.
Commentators' role is to make the viewers understand what they are looking at,
Mhm.
you
So
know
Yeah, so you're going to the sense of basically like the commentator's role is to like help people. You want commentators to help people like understand from an outside perspective instead from like an inside perspective in major events like Sendoku finals, like Riptide. But to support that, production needs to have like graphics to add on to that, to like help show what the commentators are saying about, and have commentators to actually have more stuff to say about in the game, or like about the teams as well. And that does makes a lot of sense, because funny enough, for IPL and Low Inc in like 2023 2024, there was the area cup finals that actually was on IPL, if I remember correctly, and Inky had like some like patched version 3.0 information about how to do like Rainmaker, how to do like Clan Blitz, the map layout from that area cup back then, because it was shipped from Japan. And that was like a crazy thing to see as well. And also, coming from LCS, there was a thing called IPL Versus that JPEG did before JPEG left IPL to do level 1 TV stuff. And yes, the Sendu API has weapons. And that's what for Shita.io, that's what Nate did to actually pull in weapons to add on to the stream, so they can have like the weapon monsters. That's what they did. So it is really possible to do, but no one did innovate it yet for non-CG on the IPL side, or even on the DAP side as well. Like when we had a dashboard set up, we didn't have it to like pull weapons, we just had the rosters and that's it. So yeah, no, it makes sense why you want the innovation to be for the commentators to actually say more stuff, but there has to be like a visual behind the scenes as well. So that it makes sense. And also for the Riptide, I think they had a second switch, because the way that they didn't have a second switch. The way that you do it on LAN is like you have to take a screenshot of doing that information, and that's how they did it. But for the Booyahs, I feel like they had like a modded switch or something there, because you had to have a second player in there to like figure it out. So I feel like
I was like, how the hell did you get that statistic?
I like the Booyah. I think it was a mod. I think it must be like a modded switch or something, or like some kind of way that someone like literally did it somehow. But like to gather information though, there is a way to do it from screenshots. But that internal information, that is wild as fucking weird about Booyahs, because that has to be a guess. That had to be a guess.
I wanted to ask. I think that was like the first year that I ever went to Riptide, and I was like, how are they able to pull that information?
Yeah, that was the second year that Riptide actually did Splatoon, I think, as well, in 2023, I think. So yeah, that was a thing that showed up and then never came back.
Yeah, and like I feel like I mean, I've mainly done IPL stuff. I've done other things here and there, but like mainly like IPL stuff, so I'm very familiar with the dashboard. And it's like a lot of the people that worked on the overlays and the dashboard and that stuff, they aren't super active nowadays, like compared to what they were a couple years ago. So there hasn't been a lot of updates to that kind of stuff, other than whenever we moved to Sendo, we kind of adjusted some things for Sendo, and that was really it. Whenever I started doing SOS, we were on Battlefy, and so everything was organized around Battlefy and pulling information from that. And then we did start GG for like a month or two to try that out to see how we would, and then Sendo immediately, like right after that, was just like, hey, we're doing tournaments. And I think SOS was like, if not the first, one of the first to do a tournament entirely on Sendo.
It was one of the first, because Paddling Pool was the first one.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if it was the first or one of the first, because I knew, but it was definitely one of the first, and that's why I didn't want to be so confident to say when I didn't know. But and I definitely like Sendo a lot better. There's just like some small like quality of life things that I have like asked for that would make it like have that same level of things that I liked about Battlefy, things that I liked about Start GG, and I ask about these here and there, and it just ends up being like, oh, you should talk to like this person who hasn't really been in the
Yeah.
IPL server in like a year or like 5 months or something, and it's just like they're probably busy. So it's just like a lot of the people that worked on that kind of stuff aren't really around or super active anymore, and that's why you end up seeing, you know, other organizations. And I'm not like trying to shit talk or anything, but like you have other organizations that are doing a lot more than IPL is doing right now with like visuals and overlays and all that stuff. Like I watched some Under Pressure tournaments, and I was like, damn, there's so much going on here, and it's like this is more interesting to watch. Same thing with like a couple. I haven't watched a lot of Dapple stuff, but like I tuned into a couple things here and there. I'm just like, oh wait, there's like, I didn't know that this tournament had this kind of stuff on the screen. Like that's super interesting. And you know, with IPL, it's just, you know, break screen, roster, map list, commentators.
Yeah, well, the funny thing as well, if I remember, like the webcam scene started in 2023 or 2020, or like late 2023 going to 2024, and like I was in the IPO, the staff server during that time, because funny enough, I was there because of the YouTube, but I didn't really do as much because I was a 50-50 because yeah, I was doing like starting to do a little bit of production with OTD, but then afterwards like I wanted to do more into the production, to be more on the community side, and then the YouTube side happened, and so I signed up for that, but I wanted to do production again, and I was done a hellhole for the application process because it took a while to do it, so I really never got back to anything. So yeah, I was there, and at the same time I was doing CCA, and at CCA we had a webcam scene that no one expected because I actually just did it out of the blue with Fuki Be Active, and that was one of the examples that was used as well, funny enough, in that webcam suggestion that Grace made a long time ago. So yeah, in an innovative that sense, like I think that was me, but in the main sense of like when you see the webcam, it's like that was me sorting it out to pull in other shit into it, because like going off Splatoon tourney, because like Splatoon tourney was the main thing that had webcams and everything that any other team didn't have. So having webcams and replays was the start to branch up everything that IPL doesn't really have unless you're Inky. And now like that webcam started to go in, like that's good, but replays, that's still a 50-50 hole. But like, because there is a replay thing that could work that happened on Boing, but never came back to it ever again. So yeah.
Replays, the way replays can be hit or miss depending on how they're done too, because you know you get, and I don't mind replays. I think replays are fine. It's just kind of tough to like organize that kind of thing, and sometimes I don't know, it just like, it depends on how it's done, and I cannot give you examples of times that I felt like it was done better than others because everything's a blur for me right now. But I've definitely liked times where, you know, because sometimes the commentators don't even talk about the replays sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
And that bothers me a little bit, because it's just like you're still talking about the game, and it's just like, all right, well, we have some highlights here that we're going to show, and then you're just still talking about whatever else. It's like, I really don't want to make it sound like I'm shitting on commentators. No, honestly, because everyone's really trying their best, and I really respect everyone for the amount of effort and work that they put into everything they've done.
But here's the thing: this is for new commentators as well. So
yeah, new commentators, like, you know, try to like, new commentators, you need to understand that like you are telling the story of of what's going on, and the producer is trying to help you guide that story. So like, commentators are working with producers, the producer is trying to work with you as well, because we're all working together to try to make this interesting and make this something that's worth watching. So
you're saying that, so yeah, basically replays help the commentators be sure to say about it when they show up. If you say about something, I'll leave it to dead air. It's kind of sad in the producer side. So like, if you're talking about it, talk about like if you talk about the game still and the replays still show up, that and like if you still talk about the game while it happens, and then you can like latch to the replays and like talk about like a certain moment if that is captured. Do you think that's good or no?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
So replays are happening, commentators are talking about the game, and then they say like a certain moment is like captured, and you capture that moment, and they talk about it. That's what you want and on a producer side, right?
If there was a way to do that, that would be nice. But again, that's a tough ask for a producer who's already juggling so much other stuff at the same time, and you have no idea that that's going to be coming up when they're going to start talking about that when they do. Yeah, I mean, being a producer is hard.
Do you have a stream deck?
I do not. I've been meaning to get one. I want to.
Oh my god.
My roommate actually has one, but he uses it for working in Cubase and like music production stuff, and I'm just like, why? I've done like hotkeys and stuff on my keyboard for different things, and that's been like I basically have a stream deck, and I was just like, I don't have a stream deck. A stream deck can do a lot more than that, but
I
mean, going off of highlights. Yes, going off of highlights too. If it was possible to be like, hey, we're in grand finals, but like we saw one of these teams earlier in the bracket, let's show some clips from that match, just like kind of talk about that, like it's a tough thing to kind of be able to make. That's why I've never like said too much about this, because it's just like I'm asking for a complete overhaul of how the fuck we're doing things, and it feels hypocritical coming from me, someone who has the power to help out with this but chooses not to because I have other responsibilities in my life.
Like I can say like for right now, because when you say like about like, oh, we can look back at this again, to do the multiple replays, I know you haven't been a dabble, maybe watching like other Splatoon streams, but when I do the streams, I collect multiple replays and then show at the end. The only issue is the only issue is remembering where that round is from. So like talking about like doing multiple replays and then going back to it, like that is doable, but the labeling, like you need to have someone to help you to remember where that file is. So and you have to be like the exact player too, so that's the kind of problem as well. So like if it's for a major, it would make sense for that, and if you have like a team behind you that can help you like sort out which one to look at for like the clips, that will help you as well, because you can just download it and show it from there and the comments can talk about it. But for like a weekly or like a bi-weekly event, like it really doesn't need to happen. But if it is for a major event, that would make a lot of sense to like go on to.
I'm not asking for SOS to be one of the highest production events that the scene has. Although you mentioned the one thing about like, oh, how would we name clips? And it's just like, part of me is wondering if we could use like Node CG like connected to like the OBS WebSocket whenever it like creates the clip to like name the file after like the information pulled from Sendao of like what the matchup is right now. There's got to be some way to like connect all of this shit together to be able to name each clip based off of like who's playing. Like listen, I'm not a high-end programmer. I learned enough programming to be able to hodgepodge some stuff together to make it work for my own use. Like I'm not like a high-level programmer.
Like I could say like in the OBS, that stuff, the naming is on the OBS side. So somehow there has to be like a plugin or some kind of program that can like connect to like that kind of thing to actually have it renamed, because otherwise you can only name it yourself. There's no other way they can do it because it's in the setting. So it is a really, really kind of crazy thing to do that you'll need to have a team with it.
WebSocket thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know how OBS WebSocket works. Don't ask me.
Yeah, same here. So like in that sense, like that is honestly is a good innovation for something like a league that could work, like or like what Ali has been doing for SAC with the qualify highlights. That has been for like all the other qualifiers. Don't ask about qualifier for, but yeah, like, like
I've been seeing how much work they've been putting into SAC for this season, and it is impressing me. I would like to see how all of that work pays off. I would like to see how that ends up paying off is for whenever they do for the final stuff for SAC.
So basically, like in the production side though, so you want a graphic overhaul as well to happen, just so everything can be like up to date with like all the information, and have like for commentators to have something to say more as well. That's
It doesn't necessarily have to be a graphical overhaul, and I'm also not saying we need to have 5,000 numbers on the screen, you know. In it, I would like, you know, and this is me asking for me to put more work on myself whenever we're, you know, in between matches, but like I feel like we could do more than just having, you know, just the commentators on the screen or just the maps on the screen. And like have more to talk about between, and like Splatoon Tourney kind of does this with like you can see what the previous map mode was and what the next one is, and it moves whenever we go from one to the other, and it's like so that's a step forward. I enjoy that to some extent, but you know, like part of me is kind of like wanting like this kind of like high end, like this is not going to happen, but like some high end like teaser video for like each map mode in existence of just like this is what tower control inkblot is like, and it's just like some like cool like angles and like stuff just like, and then shows like the tower path, these are the checkpoints, and these are like the point amounts of these checkpoints, and like here are the main points of interest on the map where you could like control and stuff like that, and like that could all just be done in like visual. It's like no one's gonna do that for like the 100 map modes in the entire game, but like that's what I'm saying is like some, and that's just one thing that we could do. I'm just like, and we don't have to necessarily do something like that, but it's like something else on the screen that the commentators can talk about that is interesting, that furthers information to the viewers about what is going on, what is at stake, who is playing, and what is happening here, you know, rather than just two teams are playing Splatoon right now, guys.
So like in the sense for a major, like you're talking like all this for majors, not for weeklies, right? Like this is for like
no, like weeklies don't need to be this like high level production. I'm like talking about like the things where I mean like if weeklies were this level of high production, I would like to see how far we could push majors at that point. But you know, how much manpower do we have to be able to do any of this? Not a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
so like talk about like the teaser videos, like Sunset Surge from Pepe. There is like, and also Ellie as well, funny enough, but SPFK, they did teaser videos at the start to like show like the angles and the map mode and all that, like for an intro screen, and then that transitions to the game, but not the information side, like in the middle where you can like see all the different angles about it. It's just like a starter to the game before it cuts into the game itself. So like there is some innovation, like that did happen before, but
yeah.
Again,
and I know From the Ink Up has kind of done that too, with like, you know, having like a specific kind of like visual for each map mode, not necessarily like a video, but just like Clam Blitz, Barnacle and Dime, and it's just like a cute little like visual for that. Like I think that I think that's From the Ink Up that I've seen that. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I like that. I mean, I really do like From the Ink Up's visual because it's all themed around like a shop and stuff, and like going back and forth to like different things. And that's definitely not what it looked like back in the day. And and it makes it more interesting to kind of like, and that's kind of what I'm asking for. And like obviously we could go further with it, but you know, I mean, the sky is the limit. Like I'm not gonna say like how far are we gonna go before we start like, you know, eating ourselves on, you know, how much we could potentially do. You know, if we were you know, high end production for sports and things, like we could do whatever we want, but we're not. So you know, so that's why you got to keep everything in perspective.
So like with the actual work though, like for like a major, like when you said about the map, looking at Sendu.inc, Sunny.exe/plans has the map itself, so technically that could work with that when they talk about the map. And if you want to, like when there's like filler time, that's if you have time, or if you have a second person with you that can control it, like they can like talk about it itself like that. So that could be like an option how that works out if like you have a second video as well. But yeah, so that's like one of the innovations that could be working on if you say it about the, like with commentators and the break screens. But in game, what do you feel about the second switch? The second switch being only the overhead.
I think I saw that with, what was it? Was it the ATV Resurgence League that did that?
Yes, and also
what else did that?
Choa made a tweet about it on Blue Sky about having that again back in Splatoon 2 when that happened, and in the reviews were split. It was 50-50 about saying yes or no about wanting it in. What's your opinion?
I'm not sold on it. I looked at it with the InkTV Resurgence League because I just happened to like look back at that a couple weeks ago, and I saw that they did that, and I'm like, I don't, what is this doing? Like, this just feels like it's taking up space on the screen. It's not giving me any information at all. Like, we're not watching Turf War. Like, if this were Turf War, I feel like that would be an interesting resource to have on the screen. But like, the overhead map doesn't show any useful information that like watching the game would not like that. Like, watching the game is going to give you more information, but like, that's not adding anything. I don't think it. I think it's just adding visual clutter onto the screen. Like if it if it was showing like where the tower is on the map, and like the path that it was taking and all of that stuff. I mean, it shows where the tower is. It doesn't show like the path that it's taking. It doesn't show like a bunch of stuff.
So if you're saying like if there was somehow a way that the overhead was showing the weapons instead of the player icon, that would be better, right? Because when you're in the overhead,
that would help.
Yeah,
that would help a little bit, but even so, I don't think there's anything that you could add to in the vein of an overhead that's that big on the screen that is going to add enough visual information to help the audience understand what's going on because like we're doing this for an audience, we're doing this for viewers, right? They like, we could have all the bells and whistles on the screen for everything, but you know, we got to keep it focused on what's going on, and Splatoon is already a busy game as it is. I just don't think it adds any new information that, like, we have like at the top of the screen, we have like how far the tower has gone one way or the other, how many checkpoints they've gone through. Same thing with the Rainmaker. You know, I like that, all the stuff at the top of the screen that you see with each mode, I feel like gives you a good understanding of where we are in the match right now. And like, especially even with Clam Blitz, of like, how many clams does each player have? How many clams does each team have? Who has the power clam? Like that, you know, I mean, it really should just be on the person doing spec cam to kind of be able to tell the story and visually be able to kind of, you know, take the clutter that it is the match and point the camera at the action that is important so that the viewers understand what's going on.
So you're saying like you were talking about all the other modes, and then you were saying about Turf War, like it only makes sense. Would it be good if it only was on Splat Zones then?
I think it would be worse on Splat Zones, actually, because Splat Zones is condensed to just a single section of the map. And even then, like, again, you have the visuals in the middle of the screen of like which zones are covered, which zones aren't covered, how covered are those zones. Like, you have that information, like the game gives you that information. I don't think that having an overhead view of the camera of the whole match is going to add anything more than what you're already seeing on the screen.
Oh, I wasn't talking about overhead. I was talking about the map view.
the map view. Well,
So
that's what I
many
mean.
attacks, yeah.
That's what I mean by the map view. I was saying overhead view because you had mentioned overhead view before, but I understand how that can be confusing. I was talking about specifically like how the Ink TV Resurgence League had the map view in the corner. That's what I was like kind of talking about when I was mentioning that.
Yeah, I get it too, but think about it as well. But like, so you're saying in that POV, that in your POV, that it doesn't work out if it's there every single time. But what if if it's only like for a little bit, like for like some moments that you, like it gets faded in, they can see it and then you can fade it out. Would that be better or worse? Like you can just see it for like a little bit, just like the commentators' names when it shows up for a little bit.
Oh, like if you have the commentators' names show up, that's fine. Like if you want to throw in like little bits of like stats that show up on the screen or like little things that show up on the screen in the corner every once in a while, just for like, small thing here and there, that's fine. But like for the map, for having a second switch with the screen just on like the map view, like the press X, look at the map view, just having that in the corner for the entire match, I think is just it's unnecessary. It doesn't help with anything. But if you are wanting to like I think, yeah, throw the commentators on the screen every once in a while, that's fine. Throw some interesting stats on the screen every once in a while, that's fine.
Or actually, like, think about it, because the second switch, what if it's not the map, but because like it, just like it for the commentators thing, like because you choose to fade it in and fade it out. What if it for the second switch you can fade in, you can have it faded, like when you have it up, it's on a player instead, and then you can hide it after. What if it's like that?
So just like being able to cut to a different view of a different player at that moment.
Basically, basically on the bottom left is going to be a player POV about a certain player POV, while the overhead is the overhead, like showing, like maybe it's showing the middle of the map, so maybe showing the tower, maybe it's auto cam, and then on the bottom left you can see like a POV of a player that actually is doing something interesting, and then that will show up from the producer, and then it'll hide after the play is done. And then for the regulars backend, because it's showing like the overhead and everything, because it's flying, because it should be doing the free cam, it shows that. So like a player in the background that's like maybe the commentators said about, but they don't know, but no one else knows about it, that shows up so they can have a view of it. What if it's like that?
I think that's too much. Like that's it. The viewers of anything they don't want to think. They don't want to have stuff that's overly complicated to figure out. Like, I get what you're going for with it, but I don't think it really adds to anything. Because, like, again, I don't want to keep going back to like traditional sports broadcasting, but like you have like one view of what's going on right now, and like maybe some stats on the screen. That's basically it. Like, there's not like multiple camera views happening at one time, because then at that point you're like, well, what am I supposed to be looking at? Like, even if it's like one thing small on the bottom of the screen, I mean, I can be convinced. I can be convinced if it's done in a way that works and is done well. I can be convinced that it's that thing. But it's just like how I've seen it done, which has not been much in the past. It feels like extra work for not really any benefit. But again, I could be convinced if it's done in a way that actually, I feel would be beneficial, that would work. But again, I don't know what that looks like.
Well, I can say I have 2 switches, so that could be possible in one way.
Experiment starts.
Yeah, the experiment starts. It's doable, but you definitely will need like a second hand, or if somehow you're crazy enough, or if you're crazy enough that you know everything already, like in a major event. Like, obviously this will be in a major event. There's no way I'm going to do that in a weekly. Well, it's doable. Well, technically, it could happen. I mean, you
could experiment with it in a weekly.
Yeah, it could happen in a weekly, but the main thing is that you have to host the room. That's the main thing, and you have to like have a second LAN adapter or something like that to like have it set up. So like so you won't like die off because it's Wi-Fi. So there is caveats to it, but it is feasible. But if it's like for a major event like a LAN, that has more ways to do it because you have a team with you. So if they bring it for LANs, that would make sense to see, and that would kind of be like a sports podcast kind of way, because if I remember like a long time ago when I actually watched some sports broadcasting, like because of the multiple camera angles, like there could be a camera angle that shows like for the like same for basketball, there could be a camera angle like on the corner like that shows like the sidelines they need by the basket, while the main camera is the full view that goes left and right. So it could be something like that, or like a overhead of like the other net on the bottom, like on the bottom side of the screen somewhere. That's like for like a sport broadcast kind of way. So like it could work, but yeah, there's a lot of caveats. So yeah, it's a
usually with sports broadcast you have like the main overhead view, and this is like basketball, this is football, this is
hockey,
hockey, soccer, or tradition, non-American football. You have like the overhead view, but like whenever we're not in main play, so we're in between plays or there was a foul or something like that, they'll cut to a highlight of a different camera angle that got what the last thing that happened was. So and like this is all so much easier to accomplish on a LAN because you have one person specifically at the computer working on production and overlays. You have one person specifically working on spec cam. You have like one person specifically doing stream coordination. You have all of these people doing these very specific tasks, so you can do so much more when you have more people. For a weekly or for an online tournament, it's just us. And not only do we have to, run the stream, run the overlays, do the spec cam, make sure the stream is not dying, while also keeping up with contact with the TOs. I keep Twitch and YouTube chat open because sometimes they tell me something's wrong and I fix it, but I also like to see what are they excited about, and maybe I'll spec cam some stuff in revolving what they seem like they're excited about. And while also trying to communicate with the players and get into the lobby and coordinate all that stuff. It's just like in a LAN environment you can put all of those different responsibilities on a bunch of different people if you have the people for it. For an online thing, if someone's trying to ping me in the Discord server about something that's wrong, it's like I gotta triage this of just like, what is this as catastrophic as the thing that I'm dealing with right now. So it's all of the things that I'm saying I would like to see is going to put an immense amount more work on us running this stuff live, but I'm not complaining about that. That's like, it is what it is. This is the job we signed up for, that we're doing voluntarily. No one's getting paid for this shit, but but imagine, I'm not saying we need to be paid, but imagine if we were. I feel like we could be so much further along if we were, but no one's going to pay for it. And I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying, it's just the reality of, it's like what I said with Project Eden's Garden. It's like we're all choosing to be here, but again, we're choosing to be here and taking time out of our busy lives to do something that we love. But like, the people that are younger than I don't know how old you are, I'm not going to ask, but like the people that are younger than us that have all the time in the world can put all of their time into this, I can't.
Like literally that's why there are like the donations and stuff that's on like org, so that could like help because it goes back into the org itself, so that kind of makes sense for that. But so in any case, I think that's good enough to talk about on the production side, because I think if we keep going it goes into loophole about the same thing. So we said about we said about production PTS, we said about commentators. How do you do spec cam?
How do I do spec cam?
How do you do spec cam? Because all these producers has a way to do spec cam, and there is the Boing's guide of how to do spec game as well. Like their POV
that I've
about
never read.
So yeah, going on that, how do you do spec game? Like, what's your opinion on how spec game should work in your side, and like how do you do it more or less?
So again, I've never read Boing's doc. I always keep reminding myself that it exists, and I'm like, maybe I should read that. But then also, it's like I kind of have my own. I've like I in case I counted it for because I was curious, and I've done 46 SOSs. That is a number, and I kind of started off on my own randomly, not really knowing how to do. I mean, I knew the mechanics of it, but not knowing how to go about doing it, or like style wise of like what to do. And I experimented with a lot of things over time, and kind of have settled down on really just kind of falling back to what I do know about like traditional production stuff that I've done in the past, because I have a slightly more traditional production background with, you know, music and live sound, and I've worked weddings doing videography and stuff, you know. So the thing that like one of the main things that I think about with these things is follow the action. So that's the main thing that I'm trying to focus on, is like trying to do, is follow the action. And that really takes part of, you know, keeping an eye on where the game's going. Like you have to do like your own. I'm doing my own analysis of like how I think fights are going to go. I'm doing analysis of the numbers of like who's up, who's down, what are the player advantages, you know, what weapons are fighting in what spots. Do I think this is going to be an interesting, you know, little skirmish over here? You know, constantly just analyzing of like what is going to be interesting to watch, and like what is going to be the thing to focus on at this moment. Are they pushing, or is it a stalemate? And we can just kind of like look at it from the top view and wait till someone makes a move, and then focus on like what's going on there. So, and it all breaks down to just, you know, follow the action at that point. And the way that I can go about doing that is obviously, you know, keeping an eye on specials, you know, like who has special, who's about to have special, which specials are interesting to look at, because not all of them are. Because I don't think throwing a cooler is something that it should be that pop off worthy, but you know, it depends on the moment. You know, everything is a depends sort of thing. You know, if they're making a push and someone's going to throw a cooler, then like that's an important thing to let the audience know, is like, hey, they're pushing in with cooler. This is going to go, some shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
But when I started off, I liked doing free cam top down a lot more. And I think, you know, that's a safe thing to do. And I was told by some people they prefer that over the other, but I've also been told by other people they prefer, you know, be watching the player views. And I've experimented back and forth. I think I do a mix of it. It just kind of depends of like, if it feels like we're kind of in a neutral state, I'll probably be in a top-down view. If we're, you know, kind of focusing more on one, if there's like a fight going on, I'm gonna like zoom in on that fight. And so and I'm gonna try to guess like who is like gonna win that fight, because you don't want to spec the person who loses. And obviously, if someone's popping off, you stick on them while they're popping off, because this is their moment. They're like, this is gonna get clipped. You need to like, if they keep going, it's like it's gonna be gold. But my general rule is, in terms of like which team should we be looking at, or like which players we should be looking at, I prefer to be giving the advantage to the underdogs in the match. And that doesn't necessarily mean in like the like seed wise. I'm just like, if like Alpha team is like 70 points has 70 points on the zone, and Bravo team has like 63 points, and they have the zone and they're working on getting it down, I'm going to spec Alpha team, because they're going to be the ones to push in, because they're losing right now, and it's going to be interesting to watch them see how they go about taking advantage of the people that are in the lead. Now, on the other side of that, if there's one team that's just straight dominating that match, you know, I'll spec them, because you want to see that. You want to see them like doing the complete stomp down of the thing. It just depends on what I feel is more interesting at the time. But I like to give, for like, again, we're trying to tell a story here, but everyone likes the underdog story of like, this team down by this team, or like this team is like down one game. And I'm not gonna like spec them the whole match, obviously, but like they're down one game. They're like, they don't have control of the zone. They don't have the tower. They don't have the clams or whatnot. I'm gonna view them because they're the ones that like have something to prove. The other team doesn't have anything to prove. They're in the lead. This is the team that has something to prove. So they have to. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they go about doing that. And I kind of try to think about that whenever I don't know if any of this is in Boing stock at all. This is how I think about this kind of thing. Is telling the story and showing and following the action. And that's kind of generally how I go about doing it, is like, what do I feel like is more interesting to watch here? Because, and obviously I'll bias to, I try to spec everybody if I can, but obviously there's going to be more weapons that are more aggro than others. That like the amount of times I spec pencils is a lot less than I would unless the pencil's popping off, like sometimes they do. But like, I'm gonna cut to the person who just popped a Kraken, or the person who just popped a Crab, the person who just popped a Zuka, the person who just popped an Ink Strike. Like, I'm not gonna look at the person who just popped a Rain or popped a Cooler or something else that's boring. A Bubble, yeah. Like unless I feel like they're doing something that's going to be interesting. None of what I'm saying are rules that I follow. It all just depends on what's going on. It feels so. That's kind of just how I've evolved over time, is to think more about that kind of stuff. Obviously following like, and the basics are obviously like follow specials, follow who's up, who's who's pushing, the basic stuff like that. But I try to kind of like make it interesting for the viewer of like, we want, like, I'm going to spec the people that have a little bit of a disadvantage, just because if they do take control back, it's going to be more exciting than if you're specking the team that is dominating and then they just get blown out of nowhere. Like that's 100% flip of perspective of like the team that overcame adversity versus the team that had it all and lost it at the end. So
yeah, that makes sense. Like you're saying on a general rule about like you just follow the here in the moments. That is basically what every other spec cam does as well. Like it's the most things like that you want the viewers to be interested, so you have to follow the here in the moment which are interesting. So it is a good rule to follow, that you follow with that for like all the spec cameras for that kind of way, and you don't do something that's like boring while you like focusing on POV, or just do auto cam. Even though auto cam can work in certain moments, like auto cam still is bad. Like because they stay on for too long, and also because it shows a splash tag after, and then they swap to another one after. So like, auto cam. The auto cam should be avoided at all costs. Agree? Yes or no? Auto cam should be avoided unless there's certain moments that it could work out better.
The only time I turn on auto cam is if like a TO is like messaging me that something's wrong and I need to take care of it.
Makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, and that makes sense too. So yeah, now say your information, say what you did for about how you do spec cam, right into a commentator sense. What kind of commentator would you be with that knowledge?
I mean, I've legitimately thought about commentating. I would have commentated I talked myself into signing up to commentate the last SOS, and I just I chickened out at the last minute. But I mean, 100% I would be more of the analyst. I think that's a color commentator. I like kind of thinking about things. I'm not as fast as I'm not a fast talker like some of the people in this community with things. I would rather like to talk about, everything in a macro sense of, what's what's at stake, where are we at, what kind of plays are working, like where are the weaknesses of each individual team, where things could be improved, or like um was it seem like this how does it seem like this team is going to try to get the advantage back. Like, I
Mhm.
like thinking about things more in an analytical perspective,
Mhm.
because I'm not the guy to start popping off and like talking like an auctioneer whenever so much stuff is happening on screen all at once.
Mhm. So in that sense, going from the other people who I talked about, which was CKK and Boing, you find up would be actually pretty good. Like, depending on how much you hang out with Boing, you would actually be better to be competent with Boing, because I think Boing is one of the Yap would be, if I remember correctly, would be able to do shot calling. So you being an analytical would be a good duo. So that's in the production side though. Well, other than there's like other people like Vapor, Ali. Ali did commentate before as a filler for Poker Table. Me who did it as well, and then there's like Tacos who is DivX, but they never really did commentate before, and then there was Kato as well, who's new to the streamer side, and they have commentator experience, and they're more analytical as well too. So funny enough, you're like in the 50-50s though, but of the competitive world that you could be for if you're with someone else. But who would you compete with if you were chosen? Who would you compete with?
I don't even know. I mean, if I had the choice, I don't even know. I don't. Again, this has been more of a recent thought for me. I think I like teased it back in like February or March,
You
just like,
did.
what if I sign up for commentary?
Yep.
Uh,
That's why I bring it up. That's why I brought it up.
um, I knew this was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, eventually, I'm going to, because I want to have that experience. That way, I understand what it's like on the other side of the coin.
Mhm.
But I don't know who specifically. I mean, I don't necessarily want to say like someone I'm like someone I know, like Saf, just because of the fact that I know who she is. I can talk with her about things and stuff.
Mhm.
But like that's like a cop out pick, because like we're just friends.
Mhm.
But I don't. It just there's so many people, so many people that I cannot. It's got to be like someone that I feel like I can definitely banter with too,
Mhm.
and so me and Topic would be hilarious, because that would just or like Frostix or something like that as well.
What
But
about Rocket?
Rocket, that yeah, Rocket I feel like me and Rocket uh would hit it off well, probably. Again, like it just it depends,
Mhm.
Um, and that's why that's why I said like, oh, I'll do it for SOS, because it's like it's a weekly. It's if I mess up, and it's where all like the commentators start, like a low
Mhm.
stakes tournament that all of that. The low stakes tournament, like if you mess up, it's fine. We're
Mhm.
all like, this is the place for mistakes to happen, and things to be learned from experience.
Mhm.
Um,
But
so
in the cop-up sense of a LAN as well too, would you do a LAN?
I would do a LAN. I feel like a LAN I would feel more comfortable with, because um, you would have a bit more time to kind of talk in between sets, and
Mhm.
that would be the kind of time where I would get to like be able to slow down and think a little bit more,
Mhm.
and kind of try to have a more cerebral conversation with the person that I'm talking to, and maybe like find a way to kind of tell the story of what's going on. um and that the egg on my face, I don't really know a lot of these teams either, so I'm like telling commentators that like they should know like who these teams are, instead of just being like, I don't know who they are.
Mhm.
Just I think they play these weapons, and it's just like they know more about these teams than I do, because I don't follow. Like, I mean, like, I know a lot of players, but and like I know some teams now more because I've been doing this more. But
Mhm.
a lot of times, like even like higher level teams, like up there, it's like, oh wait, I've like seen these players, but not in this order before. You know, especially with like the last like DivX finals, it's like, oh wait, I've seen these players, but I've seen them on like different teams, kind of thing. So,
so yeah, it's really just a lane would be better, but you would start in SOS. And if there was a producer only like a TO staff or producer SOS commentator set, because that did happen before. Like they did prioritize like staff for SOS for like TOs and stuff to like really get on and commentate. So you could just you could ask Grace for that to happen technically. Or
I mean, I could ask Grace for anything and she'll let me have it at this point.
No, like literally, like honestly, like if you wanted to, like there was the tweet or Blue Sky post from Rocket and Ellie provided on as well that they are working on a certain event that would be cool. That's literally is for like staff only to be like doing a tournament or to do a tournament against each other. Like that stuff that happened like a long time ago back in during when you were playing in 2022. When I was playing 2022, there was a SEC versus IPL show match that happened, and
oh yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, after that nothing ever happened. So like bringing like literally bringing that like that kind of stuff back, that's what like having like a connection more with the staff and players, like having that kind of connection, because a lot of people say that the staff will like the people in the staff, if they're not like in like commentator sense or they're in the commentator sense, like they're kind of out of touch with the players, like in a player's POV. There is some saying about that. So like if it like with staff rules as well, because like for us and sometimes for TOs, like they don't play the game anymore. So and sometimes we just want to play the game because we're bored. So like seeing that POV again, like as a TO or a staff role playing the game again, that's just funny to see. And that gives some spark as well to the staff if they're like feeling burnt out, because in a burnout kind of way, like if you just play the game again, you can find love for it. That's really what's happening to me. Because yeah, being in the burnout kind of thing, like doing the weekly every single time, like because Paladin Pool is different from SOS, because you have 3 weeks and in the last week at the end of the month there's no stream, there's no tournament. So yeah. You have a break, or you can choose to have a break. Well, for the EU side, it's rare to find anyone else who could stream, because EU timings, there's no streamers for EU more or less. So and they has to take over for streaming. So yeah, but going back to the chase, so you would be a analytical commentator for if you ever commentate anything, which it might happen. It might just happen.
I think I would be more comfortable with it than because I mean I would need to practice, like if I were doing play by play, I would need to practice being able to speak faster on things, because I'm definitely not a fast talker. Well, I can be but like I just, again, it's like I need to be able to like I need to be able to talk faster, like you're just like it's 5,000 things going off at once.
Like it is based off the vibe and whoever streams as well, because it is based off the spec cam. Yeah. So I literally just if you have a topic, it will be fine. That's true. If you just have a topic, you will be fine. Like anyone, like like in the funniest sense, just anyone with topic can work, because funny enough, as well, to put a call out on topic again, 3 months ago, topic was basically commentating like every event. Well, topic commentating was always with a new person, and that was a curse. That was topic curse. Because like
trial by fire,
basically trial by fire, and topic had to carry the set every single time. And I literally remember I got a DM from topic later, so it's like, oh my god, it's another new commentator, help me. Like that just, but that it was just funny to see. But literally just because of that, you would talk would be fine, because you get the banter with Pittsburgh and hockey, and then everyone else will be pissed, and then the people in the hockey spirit would be pissed, and it's funny. So like you're in the whale circle with sports. That like with popcorn, Hap, Keone, Rocket, topic we said a lot as well. I think no, not Hammy, but there's some other people as well that's in there. So yeah, that'll be a moment to see in history to just have hockey. No, to have hockey people just come to a Splatoon tournament. If you do that, do that, like do a Splatoon tournament, but you come to it like hockey, like a sport, like a sports tournament. Just you just do it like a sports tournament with all the banter, just like sports tournament, and everyone would be confused, but it would be funny.
God, I just had the dumbest thought. If it was just like me, Falco, and Kraken all on comms, and we're just acting like we're commentating the Steelers all at once, all three of us.
Well, there's an idea, and have it as clamplets only.
It's all
There it is.
acting like it's the Steelers versus the Ravens or something.
There it is. Yeah, no, just do that and have it put top,
And we're
have it
all
top
in
level.
on the Steelers.
Yeah, just and have it top level. Done. That's an idea right there.
Beautiful.
That's an idea that could happen right there. Who knows?
Falco or Kraken, if you're listening this far into this podcast, let's make it happen.
Or it could be anyone else too, like
That's true.
So yeah, no. If there was a clampless tournament only, that was invite only to be 8 teams, and it's like that, that would be really funny.
Oh yeah, that would be hilarious.
And the clamplets user on Twitch, whoever they are, they would be really impressed on that. Like they just showed up out of nowhere.
Person.
They showed up out of nowhere, and it's just funny because they showed up like a month ago. I think it's been a month or 2 months actually.
They've been around for a bit. I remember whenever, SOS started doing every once in a while zones only, and they show up and just like, so where's Clan Blitz? I'm like, buddy, I got some terrible news for you.
that was fun. Yeah, no, that is funny. Oh god, whoever they are, they can be recognized on this.
Shout out to Clan Blitz on Twitch.
Shout out to Clan Blitz on Twitch, and I think there's another one that existed. I think Hammerhead or Flannel Heights. I think that's a new one. So. They just popped up in Padding Pool like 2 weeks ago or like a week ago about like it's a map. I forgot what it was, but that was just really interesting to see like the lore continued to be another one.
It's the same person.
Oh my god, no, that'll be even funnier.
This person has cornered the market of all Twitch usernames and related to Splatoon maps and modes, but just uses Clan Blitz and occasionally hits some of the other ones when they're feeling spicy.
That's basically going to the quote of the Snapcube voice dub of Sonic. I forgot which one, but having 500 alt accounts from Eggman.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, that was actually Sonic Adventure 2 if I remember correctly as well.
I think it was. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's the most iconic one, honestly. Like
so good.
The Shadow Hedgehog one was good, but the Sonic 06 one, that was pretty good as well because one.
I didn't watch the 06 one. I don't think I watched that one.
One. that's basically the main thing that happened at the Snapcube. That was the main meme. Just one. Because because in the intro scene, Sonic was like Sonic just do closing with Elise, and then just literally at the beginning putting out Elise, there was like a voice line, but the voice actor just did like aha, like ha 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 one, when Sonic just put his finger up. That's it.
That's great.
God, but yeah, so damn, I think that's literally would be everything. Unless you want to go a little bit more into go a little bit more about Saf, because like you said that you started with Saf and then with streaming, and then you started to get like all the camera work. What's your computer graphic? What's your computer power? What do you have right now in your computer specs?
I think I have an 11900KF, an i9 11900KF with an RTX 4070.
Whoa. What the fuck? How much RAM? How much RAM do you have?
32 gigs, I believe.
Okay, good. So, good. You're not overkill, but That is that's good power. But so
no, like I work on game development. I need a good PC.
yeah, it makes sense. But then going into the again, when you started streaming, but when you got the camera and stuff, like I remember watching one of the VODs or having one of the thumbnails that it was you streaming. You had your camera on, and you have a purple background. So, like your background setup, it was all for streaming before, right? And you do music as well. And you said music production, so you do music. So I think you said when we talked before in that they have a lot of guitars.
I have one guitar. My roommate has a lot of guitars.
Okay.
I do have one guitar sitting right. I'm not a guitar player, but I mean I can get around playing guitar, but I don't call myself a guitar player because I'm not like the best or anything. I know a couple different instruments that I can able to use for what I needed to do, but I would never I don't call myself a piano player, even though I fuck around a piano every once in a while. I don't call myself a guitar player because I don't play it regularly, you know. So trumpet was actually the instrument I have the most experience with because I played that from middle school all the way through college and various different ensembles.
So that works. that works out. But so yeah, remembering on your background from that LUTI Tonight thumbnail, it was like a purple black background with foam, I think, and you had a plant. Like, is that background still the same, or did you change it?
Well, the background I think the background's the same. I think it was there's bookshelves and stuff behind me. The purple was probably from this one light that I have that was just cast onto the wall. It has a bunch of different lights that kind of just move around a bit. I do have a plant back there. It's not the same. It's definitely not the same plant. If I did have another one back there, it's not the same one that it was back then. But basically if we were doing cams for this, my camera is in the exact same spot that it was for whenever I was doing streams and cams for stuff back then.
So, do you ever think about streaming again, or no?
I have here and there. I think the last time I streamed for myself was back in October of last year. I was I'm in a fall mood. I kind of want to play Night in the Woods again, so I did that because I was I haven't streamed in a while. I kind of want to do this, and not that I cared about the viewership, but I was hey, I want to play this game again. And it's my girlfriend Ash was there, and a couple other people came by to hang out. But it was fun. I like streaming for myself. I just haven't done it in a while. I think about it doing every once in a while now, but it's in my mind, I'm there's so many other things I could be working on.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. But in a fun sense as well, would you ever play a tournament again?
I would like to at some point. I really would. I think about it every once in a while of just do I want to try to put out a free agent post or something? But it's I'm so rusty. I don't even think I've really played this game at all in the past year or two. I don't think I've really touched it outside of the two Magfests that I've gone to and for broadcast stuff. I bought the side order DLC for when the game came out. That DLC came out over a year ago, and I still haven't touched it.
Oh my god. Okay, but there's a stream idea.
I need to hit it at some point.
But there's a stream idea that you could do. Play side
order.
It
is 100%. It is a stream right there. I have a bunch of games that I've gotten because this would be fun to play on stream, and I just never have touched them. And I bought these games. I feel I should just enjoy them on my own at some point, or
honestly.
I don't know. I don't have time for anything anymore, man.
Honestly, just say fucking do it one time, because if you're going off a schedule based kind of thing, that's what your issue is, because you're running off a schedule, and sometimes you need to break that schedule. So yeah, just say fucking do it, or just again in the random sense of, because you say you want to do a tournament. There's FTI, technically you played only on low ink and you got gamma bracket. That was your highest result. So here's the funny thing: you're still low level. So
no, I know.
Yeah, so
I'm very aware.
Yeah, so technically you can play with rockets. Okay, no, that would be an interesting team. There was a way that you could do a production team with Fostix, Rocket, and you need a fourth. So that's the only thing. You need a fourth, and that would be an interesting sight to see. About having a production team. And that already was a thought before. Like you can technically play with strings as well,
That's
or
true,
like
yeah.
time step 4. So yes, man. No, it's other people as well. So like you could do with production, like Super Joker. Joker was one of the people as well that played in the Monday tournament. I think like last week. By Monday, I'm talking about like May 26th. Yeah, May 26th. They played in I think Craft Cup Day or something as a pickup with other bunch of staff. So technically, like it's weird because IBS doesn't have that vibe, but Under Pressure does. So
Yeah.
if you're in the Under Pressure server, technically you could do that. Like if you join it. Oh, so
I did Saf has like a regular pickup she does for FTIU, and she asked me if I wanted to be a part of it like several months back. So that's probably the last time I actually did anything like competitive wise. I mean, I don't think we ended up doing that well, but you know, it is what it is. But again, I'm in it for more of just like having fun, and that's why I'll never get out of low level, because I just want to have fun and not actually like sweat and grind at the game, you know, because I have barely enough time to like play it to begin with. So
so that means you would be playing with Falco and Keon. That's what it means, huh?
It was Saf, Falco, and one of our friends, Echo, I believe, was that particular FTIU.
Yeah, but if you were doing it now, it would be most likely Saf, Falco.
Oh yeah, doing it. Yeah, yeah.
Damn, you just made a Splatoon 20 team right there. Holy, wow. But
I mean, I'm open to it. It's just like, you know, I need to... There's a lot of things I want to happen in my life before I feel like I have the free time to do things, which I know is not true, but in my mind it's like, well, if I have like all of these things, like if I have this like career change and yada yada yada, then it's like, oh, I have all this free time, and I know that's not true, but like I think it's true, and so I will pursue.
So, but in saying on that as well too, so what you said you're going to Riptide, right?
Yes.
Do you have a spec pass, or do you have like competitive pass?
I haven't bought a pass yet. I was just going to get the spec pass, because that's what I've done usually, because no one has said. I mean, I would have potentially played with Saf, but she as of right now, I don't think can, just be based on when she's going to be getting there. This could change. We're dating the podcast. I mean, we've already dated the podcast, but
yeah,
you know, but you literally said the date of the podcast at one point.
Yes, I did. So yeah, and I said it again.
But like as of right now, that would have been like as of who I know now, of like who I would have joined a team with. I mean, obviously I'd be open to other things, but
well, I could say Keon has a free pass because Keon won a basketball contest last year. Somehow Keon played in a free throw water, like in the pool when they had like the pool night at Riptide. Yeah, somehow they did a free throw contest in the pool. Keon won, and then Keon won a free competitor pass. So Keon's playing this year at Riptide.
Well.
So technically, going from the streams as well, from Falco's return stream, Falco did do the joke with Luma, with Osami and Luma, and I guess maybe with Osami and Luma, saying about like when are they going to be playing? So technically, you could try to play with other producers or other staff. Technically, yeah. So
I could. I just haven't like put it out there that I was interested, because I wasn't really thinking about it, because I don't know. I mean, this is going to be this is not too personal. This is going to be the first year that I'm moving my girlfriend out to live with me, and that's going to be happening maybe before Riptide happens, and she might be coming out with me. So it's like with to Riptide. So it's like I mean, I'm not saying like, oh, I want to spend like all of my time with her, and I don't have time for things. I'm definitely going to sign up to volunteer for everything that I did last year. But it's like, you know, I don't know, man. Like, I'm open to it. But
Well,
it's like one of those things where I have to like actively go out and like say, hey, I'm interested in this, and then see if anyone comes back to me and be like, hey, let's do this thing, and be like, I'm just letting you know right now, I'm doing this for fun and not for results.
yeah, again, basically, if you look in the FA list and they're like looking for teams, that's where you find people who want to be sweaty. But if you're going to like other production people or just other friends, that's like where you know you can have fun because they don't really care. They're doing it for fun. So yeah, you can go and try to ask other people like the production side if you have the contact, like you already said. You have a chance with Falcos, you have a chance with Saf. You can try to see like if their fan group is going, so you can go from there. And again, Keone has a fee pass, so you can try to make a team with Keone at that point if you get a competitive pass.
My way into Keone. Hey, buddy.
Yes.
Heard you got an extra pass there.
Yeah, basically, more or less. It's just that. So you can slide your way in if you want to try playing a game like that. But yeah, in the I was gonna think about volunteering and playing. You could do that because
I know.
Yeah, remember you saw me. You literally did a volunteer for B Stream last year, and you saw me doing spec cam. Yeah, literally. I could say I got like I think it wasn't this year. It might have been last year. Or no, maybe I think it was this year because I was with my friend. My online friend I met IRL because they're somehow they were in Ohio nearby Riptide. So and I was with Keone as well. And we got food. I was with Keone on last Riptide, fair enough, so I can say that. But other thing, I got like 7 gift cards from them because I did that much spec cam. Like Kraken trusted me with spec cam, so Kraken scheduled me to do spec cam for B stream because I talked a lot with the streamer back in B stream and helped them a lot too, comparing to everyone else. So yeah, they liked me, so I was in B stream a lot. So, and also I commentated with Fufu on A stream and I played. So you can do it. You can do everything at once.
I know.
You'll be scheduled.
I know. And it's like, and I've definitely had the thought of like, I've gone to, this will be my 4th Riptide and I haven't competed at any of them. It's like, I want to at some point. It's just, I've got to be the one to make that happen. And I just haven't been the one to make that happen in prior years. So, I mean, I don't know. I'll look into it. I'll think about it.
Well, if phase 2 registration has started, so it's $10 more.
Like I'll pay whatever. I don't really care.
Well, don't wait until the late. That's the main thing. Don't wait until late. So
yeah, obviously.
Yeah. So if you're going to buy it right now in the second phase instead of the late phase. Because goddamn. So yeah. Yep.
Wait till I get there.
Well, if you wait till you get I think it'll be shut down.
I don't think you could. I think you can only get you can only get a spectator pass at that point.
Yep, that's literally it. Because registration closes like a week before the event, so yeah.
I did almost play at one Riptide because there was like one team that like needed a sub and I was like on deck to be their sub, but then like things happened and it's like I didn't end up subbing for them and something happened. I don't know. I
feel like I know what that is, and then a kid sub for them instead. Like it was like a kid that was playing in the free play area, literally just subbed in instead.
I think that's what it was.
Yep. If I remember that, that would have been cool if you played instead. But maybe it was you had a volunteer shift instead, so that's why you can't do it.
I didn't. I don't I didn't volunteer. I wanted to volunteer that year, but I asked about it after like the closing part with that, because that was the first year. That was the first year I ever had started doing streaming stuff for SOS, and like I was like, oh, I've been doing this, and then I like casually bring up to Grace like, hey, would I be able to like maybe ask about volunteering for doing that kind of stuff for Riptide? And she's like, well, that was like a month or 2 ago, like that's already closed. I'm like, oh, okay. I cry now. I'll do it next year, and then I did it last year. So
yeah, you did get like 2 spec cam blocks on A stream, and then you were helping on B stream as a stream coordinator. But the
Yes.
yeah, but the funny thing is, if I remember, you were just talking with the streamer, with the producer, about something for the whole time. I forgot what it was, but that was just really
I don't
funny.
remember what it was.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
remember. I remember me and him were locked in on something. I don't remember what it was. It was like
it was a tech. It was about tech, I think.
it was like it was like music tech stuff. We were talking
Yeah.
about his computer, like how small his like computer was, and I was like, oh, that's so interesting that you would build it, that you can get a build that small. Like that's
Yeah.
so convenient.
I think
And there was like other like music tech stuff too.
Yeah, like in your headphones and the other music
In
tech.
yours,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, if I remember, it was that, and during that same time, I was doing the spec game and then like going into doing stream court at the same time too. So that was just, it was funny, but it was funny. It was honestly really funny, but it was
I
fine.
think Boing was commentating that block too.
I think so. Yeah, maybe it was that. Yeah, and then after that was no. No, that was honestly really funny. That was just a moment. That's just a producer moment.
Yeah.
That's
it was
fine.
So funny that I was just in a random hallway. We had a whole stream.
No, literally, and I think at the same time too. No, I think JPEG showed up before, but technically, like that hallway was just basically just producer hallway because all of us was there in that moment. And I think Kraken did show up a little bit too at the same time as well.
Yes.
So yeah, no, that was just funny. that was just a producer moment right there, and that was really funny because we didn't really care because. If we didn't really care because you two were talking, I was just like kind of there existing and just listening at the same time. And then yeah, Boing and I forgot who it was. Everything was Sam or something. I forgot the name. They were just commentating what the game was happening, and Fufu was on. I didn't know it wasn't Fufu. It was someone else. It was a different team. They were just playing at the same time as well. So it just chaos with chaos, and it still happened because the stream just wants itself. More or less.
Oh yeah.
yeah, because going back to the graphics, like it's all simplistic, so it does not really anything to control, or like anything advanced that needs to be controlled because it was only pools. So yeah. Damn. Now that'll be fun to see again because most likely it will happen again this year. So yeah,
excited for the chaos to come.
Like literally, like at the same. You never watched really the LCS streams, right? Or did you?
I whenever I wrapped up stream 3, I watched the main stream for the rest of the event.
Oh no, no. I wasn't talking about like LCS. I'm talking about like the locals before that.
Oh no. I think I like looked at them a little bit here and there, but I was never like watching them.
Yeah, so if you remember in Whiptide, I don't know if it was, I think it was last year actually, that Inky had the idea about it was last year and 2 years ago as well. Inky has a camera. It was linked to the stream, and it was a handheld cam. Yeah, basically, I was going to ask the producer if he could do that for B stream as well, because technically that is doable. Like, so
yeah, no, it's very doable.
Yeah, but it just sucks because Calhoy Wi-Fi is ass.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So basically, like, it is doable, and it would be like exciting to see because B stream doesn't get that much love, and if B stream gets the love as A stream would be, that's just a W right there. So yeah. So yeah, I think that's literally the main thing about plans. So like, and you said about for your land that you want to do Pittsburgh, like the logistics is having a little bit of issue, but do you think that would be coming up in Dubai soon?
Not like soon. I'm still trying to figure out like what I want to call it and like the branding for stuff. That's like the main thing. I've got like 5,000 other things going on in my life. It's definitely not the most important thing. I've had people like a couple people like in the area reach out to me when I posted about this on Blue Sky saying like, hey, I would like to be able to help out with this, and I have not followed up with them at all because I was like, I haven't followed up with them because I don't know if this is happening or not, and I don't want to start like getting people excited about something that I don't know it's happening. I like the venue, and the venue, the people that were there were very nice, and I think it's very doable to be able to have an event there. I just don't know if for like a first event we want to go on and full on do a tournament, or if we want to do like a meetup. But if we do a meetup, then that's gonna incentivize, like, I feel like, less people to show up versus a tournament, because there's not a prize pool, and then we have to try to figure out how to pay for the venue and stuff off of just a meetup and stuff. But like, if we do a meetup, then we could, stress test the setups to see make sure they work without the stress of having like a full prize pool for teams and stuff, for like not having a repeat of Magfest, essentially. But with like an actual prize pool on the line.
So I could say, because if you take an example from Toronto, here in Toronto, because we have Squid Socials, we never did a tournament. We just ran a social event with just only the people who show up, and they just paid to just go to come in. And then after that, we just chill. So if you do it like that, that would be a good way to start. So there would be interest first, and then after that, you can run a tournament. So if you want to start off with the venue and see how that plays out, it's better that you do the social event. So you got the interest of just people showing up and playing to have fun. So,
yeah. And I think that's like the safer option. So it's probably what I would want to do. And I've got to like think about like what I want to call it, and like what branding I would want to do. I've got to like make the Discord server, and then I got to manage the Discord server, and managing Discord servers is not something that I want to do.
But the thing is, remember, you got people who ask you like, oh, hey, I want to help out.
That is true.
Don't be alone on this. Don't be what Pepe's doing. like, don't be what Pepe's doing, because Pepe literally just like, for the past few Sunset Surges, he's been doing a lot on his own and wants to do it by himself. But now, literally after the LCS one, literally it was Fufu, Shiny, and OBT. I think someone else too. I think it was Mexi. You might not know them, but basically they're in the all staff for Sunset Surge. They literally sat down with Pepe and saying, dude, you need to have us help you with it. So like, if you watch the Sunset Surge Direct, say about the TOs, those are the TOs for Sunset Surge that actually are helping with the event now. So don't be alone on it. You just have other people with you.
I was never planning on doing it alone. I would never want to. Oh my gosh.
Good.
But I had someone from the Splatoon TO LAN server said that they were in the area, and I think someone from Slippery Rock University, which has like a CCA team, reached out and said they would also be interested. So I mean, like, there's people that want to help out that have like the experience. So it's just I gotta figure shit out and also try to find time for everything. I do need to go back up to that venue because their tech guy wasn't there, and I had some tech questions because I was just talking to like their marketing person the whole time, which she was super helpful and super nice, but obviously she couldn't answer like some questions. So she said like I could go back up whenever their tech guy is there and ask him some questions, because they have like a main stage, they have plenty of PCs. They have like a mixer and like all that stuff to like run an actual like LAN event, and they have run LAN events I think for like Valorant before.
Makes sense.
So like they have the equipment. I just need to. The one thing I had the question about was how are players going to be able to communicate with each other, because they don't have Astro mixers. Like the idea would probably just be like either
Discord.
Like create like a Discord or TeamSpeak or something, and that's with all the, because they have a bunch of PCs, so like that we can make that work. But I do need to talk to their tech guy at some point, but also I need to like find time to, because here's the thing, my time currently being split between my day job, trying to do streams and stuff for Splatoon, wanting to do this LAN, doing a fucking musical for Project Eden's Garden, while also working on my own side project that I'm working on that I haven't told anyone about, that that I don't know if is gonna be a thing or not. It's just I'm kind of fucking around with it and working on it, and like the other creative projects that have just been on the back burner that I have, and do I need to go on?
No, I don't think you explained it all. So yeah, like it's a good thing that maybe it'll happen soon. That's really just the main thing. It'll happen soon, just whenever you have everything done. So
if I can get it to happen this year, I would like to happen. I have a chance because they said that they were gonna have like a Smash event in October, and I'm like, oh, we could maybe make it like a Splatoon and Smash event, or well, they brought that up, and I was like, yeah, maybe we could do that. So maybe the aim for that. No promises for anyone who's like looking for a Splatoon LAN in Pittsburgh that's happening in October. This is not a confirmation of this. It's just I'm trying to figure out what it would be and maybe. So
well, remember, like you said, you don't want it to be in the Magfest situation.
Yeah. It would just be I'm being more convinced of just a meetup local hangout thing. To be fair, this is also on the mezzanine of a movie theater, so they said they have like a lot of foot traffic they could potentially get in from people just going to the movies as well.
Yeah,
for local interest.
Yeah, so that's a concern, and also audio would be a concern as well because it will be super loud. So if you get noise cancellation headphones, good idea there. Good to get noise cancellation headphones. But yeah, okay, I think that's literally would be good enough to call it to say everything, because I think everything that has been said. So
I mean, like, we could ramble about 1,000 other things, but I feel like we got a good bit of info out of this, like other random, like I like some ideas of like things I was going to talk about, but like it's not.
One of the things, huh?
I was going to bring up like small random things because I was going to bring up like how I started in SOS and how that was kind of like a whole interesting story because it was going to be
go on go on.
So, oh god, I'll keep it short. But the first SOS. So I signed up to do I signed up because I wanted to help out with IPL. They had a staff thing. I had an interview with Grace. Grace brought me on, and I started working with Boing to get everything set up because Boing was doing SOS with Toshi. And so then I got set up. I did 2 test streams with Boing, and that was SOS 111 and SOS 112. I don't know if SOS 112 rings a bell to you as any, notable SOS event at all.
What was it the one with the DC, or what with when it was during the fucking, I forgot what it's called. I forgot what the name was called.
It was it was the aliasing controversy.
Oh.
Where a team got DQ'd because another team called them out because one player had an alias.
Oh, okay. No, I remember that now.
Yeah, so that was
I played in that one.
That was the second SOS I ever did, and so basically SOS was on fire at that point. And then the very next one, they're just like, "All right, you're on your own," and I'm like, "Oh." Okay. So there was that, but then like within a month, Boing had stopped doing SOS, and Toshi couldn't do SOS anymore because of time conflicts. So it was just me, all on my own, for the month of August, after I had just been doing this for like 2 streams on my own, and I'm like all on my own. I'm the only one who can do it, and I just started doing this.
Now welcome to production. You got 2 toys you're in the deep end now, buddy. No, that's literally that is literally how production works nowadays too. Like after you get like a tutorial, you're on your own. Like you can DM people for help, but you're basically on your own now. So,
well, I mean, the idea was that they have 3 streamers for SOS. It was gonna be Boing, Toshi, and me. Everybody only has to stream like once a month, maybe twice at most. And then the next month, I'm having to stream every single SOS because Boing and Toshi are not part of it anymore.
Yeah,
and then Rin got brought on the next month, and then it's just been me and Rin the whole time.
Well, CKK.
Has CKK done SOS?
Yes, CKK does CKK done SOS once in a while. And then Ellie as well. She did it as well.
Ellie did it while I was off for a month.
Yeah.
because
So
I was out of state. So it was, but that was the month where there were only 2 SOSs because of some scheduling things. So it was
yeah.
Rin and Ellie filled in for the extra week that Rin couldn't do. So it like
Yeah.
worked out that I just happened to be out of state for that month.
Yeah.
So they only needed 1 sub.
Yeah. CKK did it as well too. Well, again, like it was like
I don't-
two. I
I
think it
don't
was like
remember when that would have been.
yeah, it was like a long time ago. But CKK did it like once, I think. Well, like maybe like once or twice, something like that, if I remember correctly. But yeah,
I don't remember when that would have been, but it has been mainly just me and Rin.
Well, mainly you.
Time. Mainly me. Rin for a while had some, I think, some training that he
Mhm.
was doing that he could be able to do it for a couple months.
Hmm.
But it ends up being me more often than not, which I'm fine with. I've like literally told Grace, like, you know, I've literally made my Wednesday nights open for you. Like, if you
Yeah.
need me, I will be there.
But and then there's the forest about me and then me and you like say they're like, hey, so if you want to take a break, like I could do it for you because I'm fucking burnt out, but doing as planning pool every single Wednesday afternoon.
Mhm.
And then literally like at the same time, like afterwards, I would be doing like an SOS. I would do SOS commentary as well afterwards, and get like an hour break or like 2 hour break about eating. And yeah, but no, honestly, like doing that SOS stream, but like always honestly seemed interesting because I didn't get to do SAC because of scheduling hell. So yeah, like SOS basically would be like the free one to do because Neon Whale doesn't exist anymore. So that was like
Yeah.
a Friday event or a Monday event. So
It
yeah.
was all over the place. I did a couple neon whales back when that was a thing.
And then Proving Grounds as well. That
I didn't
was
do Proving Grounds, but that was interesting.
Proving Grounds was said to be coming back from what Popgun said, but
Hmm.
the thing is, IPL has been in logistics hell. That's the same with Under Pressure as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, IPL has been in logistics hell. Under Pressure has been in logistics hell. Like a lot of the orgs has been in logistics hell, just because of like everything. Like literally, like the pop guy said with MomoCon, there wasn't as much advertisements because they were just not doing it. They were just like too stacked up and too far behind. So yeah, everyone's really in logistics hell.
Yeah, and this is being recorded like within the week after
MomoCon
LSL being without LSL being announced that it's
taking
going to
a
be on
hiatus.
hiatus.
Yeah,
Like an infinite hiatus, basically wrapping up.
and it's bad as well because the reason why is because if you see the tweet before, someone smurfed. So it just makes it even worse of a view that they canceled it because of an incident like that. But like also at the same time too, I think Jub there was no stream as well by enough too because because Lily Alice Lily DM'd me and saying like, oh hey, can you stream for LSL? I had to work that day, so no. But no, it wasn't work. It was MomoCon and SCC qualifiers, and I was doing qualifier 4. So yeah, it was cursed. It was basically all cursed, and there was like maybe like 17 tournaments that day, something like that, maybe 2. So like it was cursed. It was really cursed. So yeah,
I can imagine.
So yeah, it's unfortunate that LSL ended in that kind of way. Like it could end like how they did the Launchpad Drop Cup season finale or series finale by doing like an invitational. They could do that technically. So
true.
Yeah, but this is the issue. It's about skill. There's a skill issue right there because there's 50 LSLs and people might be like gone. So like for the last 10 basically would be an invitational like they did before. So yeah. But yeah, so basically, how are you going to streaming SMS but they on your own after 2 streams? That's basically a TLDR.
And after SOS as a tournament had been on fire, like burning to the ground, like people were leaving and stuff. I remember the first time I ever met Skep in person was at the Riptide right after that, and I met them in the hallway, and they were like, "Who are you guys?" they were just excited to see people, and I introduced myself, and the first thing they said to me was just like, "Thank you for saving SOS," and I'm like, "What? What?"
Oh wow.
That never but I didn't understand really what that meant, because again, I hadn't been really a part of SOS before everything, like all the shit hit the fan sort of thing. So I was just along for the ride, which is very similar to a situation that happened with Project Eden's Garden, where I joined the team and then shit hit the fan not long after. We're not going to talk about that. That's a whole other story.
That's a whole different episode.
That's a whole other story. But like, it's just funny that it happened twice.
Well,
and so I didn't understand what that meant until like so long after, when I realized, oh wait, I'm like the one holding this shit together.
The streamer inflation, the streamer inflation. That's why. Determine inflation to the streamer output. That's why. You are one of the 5 streamers who can stream, because everyone else doesn't want to. Like, yeah. So yeah, that's the funny story there. So yeah, like technically at the same time too, how many people, like, it's only me and you who has consistently done a stream, like, for a weekly or like a bi-weekly event. Basically, it's only me and you, and then this Black Cat who does FTIU every so often. There's other people in UP that's starting it out. CKK has been doing Trident. Cater started to do that as well. Sama Purist did before. They did qualifiers for SCC last season, and also they do Saturday tournaments for Dapple. But really, in the main sense, what we're trying to get to, if we were made to make a team just for funsies, just saying like, fuck the stream, we're going to be playing this tournament this time. Me, you, CKK, and fuck it, Sama. And then that's just basically is the producer team, the Splatoon production team. Honestly, that would be crazy. That would be crazy to see. Maybe I might try to get CKK on it, because funny enough, what rank are you in Splatoon 3 actually?
I got to X rank for all modes. Well, I mean, it's just, I don't remember. It's been forever. I got to X rank. I know that.
In Splatoon
I don't
3,
remember.
right? And not Splatoon 2?
Yes.
Okay.
I did get. When I came back to Splatoon 2, I did get to Quad X.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But Splatoon 3.
Splatoon 3. I don't know what my highest like X power was. Probably
check your app. Check your app.
I think I actually put it on my Sendo back when I cared. Back when I cared.
Damn.
Give me 1 sec. I don't think I've actually looked at my Sendo profile in forever. Let me pull it up real quick.
It must be outdated.
Wait, what the fuck? Why do I have a badge for winning Neon Whale?
It's because you stream Neon Whale, and the TOs like to actually put it on for people who helped out. So you get a free badge because you helped out.
Neat. I think so it looks like my highest X power was like 2150. So not like that great.
It's okay. Yeah, that's fine.
And that was when I was playing.
Yeah, and you have 5 builds. Oh my god, what the fuck? Your builds. Holy shit.
Yeah, I haven't touched this shit in forever.
But Jesus Christ, the 2023 builds from, but a lot of ones speed, that is the average.
Well, yeah, because I played Flatlings, bro.
That's funny. But that way, you have an art.
Yeah, one of my team members, I guess made art that I guess got attached to my Sendo profile.
Yeah, so Death Knocked Adapt. You had to adapt? What?
No. I did not have Adapt with me. Adapt was just in the circle of like people watching like Saf and some of the other streamers at the time. Like Adapt was just in that like circle of like people that I was around.
Okay, so Adapt was one of the people that would just went, damn. Adapt
would regularly be in Saf's PBs when she was doing those.
That's a crazy lore drop. Holy shit, wait. That's a lore drop right there. What the fuck? because like
I killed Adapt in Splatoon 2 with a knot once, and he said not broken.
wow, okay.
I take that as a little bit of honor.
Honestly, honestly, the funny thing too, like if you like see nowadays with Adapt, like Adapt played with Hades, like Adapt became.
Oh yeah, I know. I've kept up with it, the shit that he's been up to. It's been crazy.
But I could say as well, with the Momocon stream, Adapt tried. They really tried to go hard on the Adapt on the stream, because Adapt called Trey on the Momocon stream, and it was showed on cameras, and also at the same time too, they were trying to push the luck with the mods. Honestly, I'm being so real. And there's the secret lore drop there too during the Momocon stream, because a lot of auto mods has happened during the time of the Momocon stream. And holy shit, there was a little bit of controversy during the Momocon chat as well. EU versus NA with respect, basically, because holy shit, there's a new copy pasta. Because like it was showing about like the pride and stuff for black people, and someone in the EU side saying like, oh, in chat, pinged Adapt and said like, oh, I'm like, oh, this was like really uncomfortable to say about it so much, like it's like push on it instead of like being a joke, because like everything is satire in Twitch chat, it's all satire, but yeah, it was really pushed, and they said it themselves that they were uncomfortable like having so much of this pride on stream, which in the context of saying it is bad, because you should just not say it at all. You could just hide chat, but or just keep chatting at the same time. But the uncomfortability on the EU side, because they're not really used to it or doesn't see it that much, that was a shocker of the drama that happened recently. And that was a part of it, because the automod was really frustrating.
I didn't up, my age is wrong on my Sendo profile because I haven't updated it in years. No, I didn't hear about any of that, because I really just avoid using social media at this point.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
But that's crazy though.
It's really funny. It was really crazy to see though. Like it was funny to see, because I was in the VC as well during that happened. It was just really funny to see what happens, to see what was happening. But I felt bad because But main thing though is that's fucking crazy that you had a lore jump with that back then, and with Sap as well. So like with the Sap PBs, like that was when Sap was a streamer before, when Sap moved into production. The same thing as your story as well too. Damn.
Yes.
So, damn. Yeah, no, you really should just play a tournament again with Saf, and just with Falco and like with Kia as well. Like, honestly,
I should. I gotta find the time for it.
Well, Wednesdays are free technically, or depending on if you have Fridays free, or any other day that's free on a night, you can technically find a tournament that most likely is for low level. So.
There's so many tournaments.
There's too many low-level tournaments. We need more mid-level. No. We need more mid-level tournaments.
We do, yeah.
Also,
I would love to see more mid-level.
Yeah. Also, by the way, you spelled Tech wrong in your Sendao.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, no, I see that. That's funny.
God, that is just funny. Yeah, tournament. Tony gets a cup. Gets a Winter Cup. Actually, I remember that because Tony. It was one of the two. Because that's the one that story won.
I don't remember who won it. I just remember that was Saf's like her own, like that was her tournament that she did, and I helped her out with it, and also competed in it as well.
Yeah, if I remember, that's the one that the story won, with JJ, and I think I don't know. Yeah. So that was a big thing for FIFLO. When that was happening, because that was the start of the JJ arc. But anyways, I think we covered everything because
we need to stop. This is getting too long.
we've been going on for 3 hours and 15 minutes so far. But honestly, thank God you remember about saying about how you started streaming for SOS, because I almost forgot.
I mean, we kind of talked about a lot of different things. I wasn't expecting. Listen, I saw how long you talked with CKK, and I'm just like, oh God.
Yep. Basically in the BTS, like in the end, we did say producers can yap for a long time if we allow it to be.
I listened to that whole thing.
Holy shit, okay. Well, damn, okay then.
My dude, you underestimate how much time I have at work to listen to podcasts.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, at the same time too, if you listen to the Cactus Patch, then there was
I did listen to that one, that as well, yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, there was Saf, there was a Saf one that was like one, that was like 1.5, I think. Then I was at 2 hours, and then Volty was 3 hours. So
yes.
We made it to the point that we talked as long as Volty did. So nice. Wait, it wasn't about Splatoon though, so that's the good thing.
Well, I feel like partially this was inflated by talking about Project Eden's Garden for a bit, so
45 minutes, but a good 45 minutes, but it was worth it because
yeah,
for the RPG people, and I think that is some people as well too, and it's a good thing that that's at the start. So yeah, God, yeah, no, honestly. Like, because you said about that too. Damn, I wanted to kind of try play Danganronpa one time. So, like, do I need to know the story to play Project Eden or no?
No, it's a completely original story with original characters in a different universe. You don't have to have any knowledge of the original source material to enjoy it.
Damn, so now I'm convinced I actually might try to play it one time.
You should. It's free.
I'll try to. I'll maybe DM you about it later, and then find a link, and then maybe play it on my own. So
cool. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So now you got +1 download to that 35.
Hell yeah.
To the 350,000 one. Holy shit. But yeah.
Oh, we're hitting new highs.
Yeah, 500k. You have to make a big. You have to make something for 500k. You have to, or 400. You have to make like a medium one for 400k, but when you hit 500k, you have to hit a big one.
Hopefully we can.
In B4 chapter 2.
Oh.
That's when you're going to hit like 600k, or maybe that's when you hit 600k for sure, or maybe 750.
None of this matters until we hit 1 million. Make it happen, internet.
No, hit it on Steam. No, hit it on Steam. Hit it on Steam when it ends. Or like
the second we put it on Steam, that shit's getting shut the fuck down.
Oh God, yeah, no, that's true. Damn. Well, okay. Well, now that should be everything. We hit 3 hours and 20. We hit 3:20. So now, socials.
Socials is Pipedream DX everywhere, basically at Pipedream DX, or on like Blue Sky pipedreamdx.com. If you want to check out my portfolio of like sound design and stuff, it's justingilbertsound.com. But that's basically it.
Actually, would you ever think about making it like a short film, or no?
If I had the opportunity, yeah, that'd be super fun.
Interesting to know. So yeah, so basically in the end now, now that you did your socials, what should the title be?
What should the title be?
Yes, we have been here for 3 hours. We have been here basically for 3.5 hours, and the title has been, I don't know, man. What kind of title? What would the title finally be?
SOS, Peg, and SOS, Peg, and the oh, don't you take and how to improve production.
And there is now the title.
SOS Peg and how to improve production. Love it. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's how we end the episode, but pick the title. No, for real. Okay, but yeah, thank you for having for having this yapping session in the Chillcast. It was great to have you.
Thank you for having me. This was fun. Hopefully I can actually sleep and get up for work tomorrow.
Oh, you should be able to. It'll be fine. And who knows? Then might bring it back in another episode to talk
Part
about
2 coming soon, baby.
Part 2 with RPG with topic, but no, with block it to talk about Danganronpa lore. Hey, that's what the Chillcast is about. No. No, it would be funny as hell though.
The final episode, we bring everyone in and we all talk as like a round table. That would be fun.
It would be CKK, you, Boing, whoever the fuck else I can bring on to. Yeah, no, that would be.
Who's coming next on the podcast? Who's coming next?
Who knows? It's a Chillcast, so whenever the fuck it shows up. Who knows? It might be, because there is still gold mode that's coming up next month, so there might be a chance that it's a Cat Dispatch Live and Cat Dispatch Live plus Chillcast Live, because we need Canadian representation because it's a Chillcast. So yeah. Ideas
Stay
planned.
tuned, folks. There's more to be had.
Who knows when the fuck is gonna be happening again? But yeah, so. Yeah, good luck tomorrow, by the way. Good luck tomorrow. Because Sunday Q Finals is happening tomorrow. And yeah. So, in like 36 hours. 36 hours from now. So, yeah. So, good luck with that. You're on your own again. You're with top tier commenters. Don't fuck it up.
I'll be fine.
Good. Okay. Yep. Well, okay. That should be it now. So, any last words? As you have like 55 seconds.
55 seconds. What would you do wait, what is it? Oh, fuck. I forgot the quote. No,
quote?
I'm running out of time.
What's the quote? What would you have? What would you have if you have too many? If you have unlimited bacon or
I got
limited games.
What would you do if you were forced to face the dreams you were? What would you do if you were forced to face the dreams you've left to die? Sit with that.
Damn. But would you have unlimited bacon or so? Would you have
not
unlimited bacon
answering
or unlimited games
Cut it
or
down.
only
Cut
bacon?
Cut it now.